Yeah, right here. Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is BTE TV, and I am Tony Jackson. Thank you all for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. I am joined once again by my friend and brother in Christ, Vinny B. Vinny B, thank you for being here. Welcome back. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Thank you, for having me on. I consider you a very good friend, a great man, a brother in Christ. And yeah, I haven't done anything for months. I wanted to take a break from doing stuff, and then I was focused on going on a vacation trip with my daughter and my wife and my family. So I was focused on that. I got back, I think like 2 weeks ago, and now I'm like ready to move forward again doing shows. And of course, you're one of the first ones I got to jump on. So yeah,
Awesome.
excited to be back on.
Yeah, it's a lot of people have been asking me, when's Vinny coming back? I'm like, I'm trying. He's busy.
I still get so many messages from, I've told you before, I love your audience. It's probably my favorite. You got so many amazing people. I've gotten so many emails since I first came on your show. I mean, I'm still getting messages from people, like I just saw you on it, asking for the flamenco books. I've probably given it out to like 50, like over 50 people by now.
Wow.
Um, and even just a few days ago, someone commenting like, "When are you going back on Tony's show?" And I'm like, "Actually, this weekend." So yeah, I love your audience. I love you, and always feels good coming here.
Yeah, same man. Yeah, the people that watch this channel are they're smarter than I am. Honestly. They I'll say things and then they'll say no, actually, and they'll correct me or they'll add to, and they just blow my mind. No matter what I talk about, these people know. They're like the most brilliant and godly people that I could ever hope to meet, at least virtually. So hats off to the viewers. I
Yeah,
agree. They're and
and
they're
and they
so
help us. You guys help us. I mean, same thing I could say. I get some amazing emails, and that's helps me learn. Every one of us uh is helping out in a part of it. It's the whole body, right? And we're just like individual parts, and uh but we're all part of the body. So, I'm appreciative to everybody out there, and yeah, agree
yeah.
with you. I get to learn from them too.
Yeah, like for this 4th of July, I was, a little on edge because of what we've been talking about, and I didn't want to spend it alone. So I went live because I wanted to spend it with the most brilliant people in the world, and it ended up being really fun. It was just me. I think actually Pastor Joseph jumped on towards the end, so I wasn't alone the whole time. But I spent it with all these people, and it was awesome. It was like the best 4th of July. We just
Nice.
talked about headlines, weird stuff going on in the news, and um, so all right. Well, Vinny, I mean, obviously, the you have the floor. You tell us whatever is on your mind. Um, but I wanted to just talk to you real quick. First thing is these the increase in these earthquakes and these crazy natural disasters. There was a severe. Trish Clark sent me some photos. Which she was in Indiana, I think Northwest Indiana. 6 tornadoes, like in one night, devastated this area in Indiana. We had the earthquake in Colombia uh, a few days ago. Japan got another one. I mean, there's like earthquakes popping off everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and on top of that, we've got all these fires, right? We've got floods. We've got now tornadoes happening in places that never get them. Um, it's easy for us to immediately point the finger and go, "Yeah, it's HARP. It's got to be HARP. They're just land grab, whatever." But there's also some of us that feel maybe at least the earthquakes. This is part of like God's judgment, because
Hmm.
why are they going to risk? doing damage to their underground cities. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? Have you been seeing these all these crazy earthquakes in the news, and do you think that it's we are seeing like the signs of like the end of the days?
Yeah, I think you actually already answered it pretty good. You know, um, it's it could be either or, right? Where we all know that they have the technology. We know that there's geoengineering or what some called chemtrails. We know about HARP. So there's the aspect that we can't say that that can't be happening. Um, but then there's also, like you said, is this more of God uh, giving signs of end times? Uh, so I'm basically see it the same as you, where it's like it it could be both, or either or. I I always say, one person that I give a lot of respect to, and I'll try to listen to he does his once a week, the Dane Wigington from Geo Engineering,
Hmm.
who's all over that stuff, and he made the documentary The Dimming, which is I think the best one on geoengineering chemtrails. And to me, we all know in the conspiracy movement or whatever we want to call ourselves, or what people call us, um, is depopulation is basically the biggest thing for our controllers, is they want to depopulate. And a great way to do that is by this geoengineering, causing fires, causing droughts, causing floods, causing earthquakes, um, destroy the crops, the food production. I mean, it, it it's kind of good for them, right? Since they basically are in this Atlas shrugged type of event where they want to basically destroy the system to have us on our knees, so that we'll be begging for whatever this new world order system is going to offer the people. So that's the way I see that one angle. And then, like you said, and us Christians know from the Bible that this could be signs from God showing that there's not much time left, the birth pains and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let me just, I'm glad you brought up geoengineering. Let me just share my screen real quick. I actually donate to this because there's a donate button right up here on the right.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Um,
hold on. My cat's running crazy.
cat's running crazy. Story of my life, Vinny.
Yeah, the cat's running crazy and just knocked over
Uh,
my camera.
and they're excited about our podcast. This is what Vinny's talking about, geoengineeringwatch.org. Look at 53 million visitors.
Yeah,
53 million people have gone to this website. This guy studies the chemtrails.
better than anyone. To
It,
me, he's the biggest expert.
yeah, look at engineering wildfires, creating storms, jet spraying, geowatch rate, tree die off. He's got all the scientific proof that they are scientifically manipulating our whole environment, really, the entire ecosystem. So, if you guys want to donate to a good cause, geoengineering. Now, I don't know. Do you know Dane Wigington at all personally, Vinny?
Personally, no. He's not, into flat Earth and conspiracies, but that's a good thing too. This is his thing, and it's probably good he's not a conspiracy guy, because then he'd be attacked for that or being a flat earther, and people that aren't awake wouldn't take him as serious. So, we're all different pieces, and for just going into geoengineering, he's the best in my opinion, and I always promote him.
Yeah, and he actually sat down with RFK Jr.
Yeah, I think this past week he was just at some event where he called out the guy who was talking about them using aerosol chemtrails to, reject the sunlight to fight global warming, and was trying to make it like, they've done tests and it's okay, it's not harmful. And then Dane like cut him off again and was like, so you're saying that like heavy metals and this and that are like not a threat, and like basically called him out on it. So yeah, Dane's doing great work. He deserves his credit. And when people get into this topic, I just say this is the best. You should check out Geo Engineering.
Yeah, geoengineeringwatch.org. I'll put a link in the description. Um, yeah, he's actually rented a flying laboratory, right? An airplane with a
Yeah.
laboratory in it, and he flew behind. He flew above the chemtrails,
Hmm.
below them, and then tested the soil and the water on the ground that the chemtrails were sprayed on. So he's got all the proof that it's not contrails.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I would love to have him on. I think he's way too big for a channel of
Yeah, he
my
doesn't really
size.
do like a lot of interviews, but he's always down to like you could promote his stuff or air his stuff or become like a partner with him. He's open to that, but he's not really like probably gonna come on and do interviews so much, you know.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So a lot of people have been thinking about what you first came up with on this channel the first time you were here, I think, about the Earth being actually square instead of a round, flat uh, circle.
Yeah.
A flat square or rectangular plane, and a lot of people are coming to that conclusion. So
It's awesome.
hats off to you and to Roman, right, who did that
Yeah.
incredible model. So I want to just find out, like, what's new in the flat Earth news world.
Yeah, well, I mean, on that model, it's still, I think I'm the only one who's vocally out there, in the flat earth community talking about that model. As I've said before, Roman hasn't done anything in 7 years. I haven't heard back from him in months. I keep trying for the people who keep asking me to get Roman. It's not up to me. It's whenever Roman's ready. That'll be, I'll be the first one. Trust me, having Roman on and trying to network and get him on other stuff. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of people who have wrote me and are looking that way. And I bring up a lot of facts that you can't ignore. And straight lines at the equator, the stars, and the stars uh, going the opposite in the south, and they're different constellations. It doesn't work on a circle dish. It's not going to be able to, or a ball. So. It's a complicated thing, like I told you, because it's so supernatural, this world. I think people want an easy, like material, three-dimensional model or just this quick, simple, answer, one sentence answer to explain everything. But I mean, God's creation is supernatural. It's special. And some things are probably beyond what we could explain easily or even comprehend. And I'm big with the Book of Enoch. I feel like is probably the person who wrote the most about what the model is and how it looks. And to me, he's talking about portals and to me a square Earth. And I point out, like in one of my videos that maybe a bunch of people watched, I got the Book of Enoch model video and the U.S. Army training video. But in the Book of Enoch one, showing like all the ancients believed it was square. They talked about four corners, uh, even like the Mayans and everybody. And they all also believed in this underworld, even the Mayans and everybody. Just like Enoch talks about, like the sun going under the earth and then, making its way back to the other side. That's even what the ancient Mayans talked about. That's what Egypt believed in. That's what the ancient cultures actually believed in. And their models were basically a pyramid structure, which would be a square, flat plane. Um, and to me, it all adds up. The thing that makes it hard is what's going on above our head is where I think is hard for people to figure out. I know you said you wanted to ask the question that you get about the where people are saying that they believe the Earth is square, but the heavens being a circle, you were saying before the
The
show.
firmament. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
So,
know about that?
so yeah, with that, when I was researching square Earth, I found this Jesuit Matteo Ricci in the 1500s went to Ch China and he reported back to the Pope saying the Chinese believe the Earth is a flat square plane. Like I keep saying, everybody in the past believed it was a flat square plane, not circle dish. And but they believe that the heavens were a circle, and they would depict it with like a square and a circle, the square being like green and the circle being yellow, or vice versa, something like that. So, I guess there were some that believed that the heavens were a circle. Um, I think if you're in the north and you're staring up, uh, it looks like they're circling, and you're gonna have a circle image. You're gonna think that, well, it must be a circle. The stars are moving in a circle pattern. Uh, so I think that's why a lot of people feel like it's got to be a circle. But my only comeback to that is, well, if you're at the equator, then you're seeing them going straight lines. They're not circling. And then if you're in the south, they're circling in a different direction around the southern pole. So then what is it? Is the heavens like two circles with a straight line in the middle? Or, or could it be what I'm saying and Roman saying that it's more supernatural and you got it's just it appears to be circling around these poles, but they're actually not. It's just like how we say it appears the boat is going over a curve and disappearing, or the birds flying away from you are getting lower in the sky, or the sun's getting lower, but it's actually not. It's just your perspective. And in certain areas, you're just seeing a perspective of something curving, but Roman describes it as light being pulled towards the foundations of heaven, the pillars. So it appears to be circling around the pole, but in reality, it's not. So is how me and Roman have been describing it. So uh, yeah,
And the stars are on circuits, which
yeah,
means they rotate in a circular motion as they're moving above us on like a conveyor belt type of a
yeah. To us,
motion.
it's a conveyor belt, and they're actually just going in straight lines. But when they appear to be circling, which is
Okay.
obviously everybody in the Northern Hemisphere, you look up and that's what you see. I'm not arguing that it appears to be circling, but what we're saying is we actually believe that it's just going in a straight line. They're in a fixed position. And their circuits, uh, the bigger the circuit, the bigger the curve will look. The flatter the the circuit, the straighter it'll look like Polaris or something like that, where it doesn't seem to be moving or curving.
So Vinny, you said to me in the past there was someone that was gonna either work with you or
Oh yeah,
on a
yeah.
model on a doing.
Oh
Is that
yeah,
still
that didn't happen. But um, some flat Earth news I could bring up is something kind of cool. Is I think I mentioned one time about Nathan Oakley. For people who don't know, Nathan Oakley, uh, a great flat earther who deserves his credit. He's from the UK, extremely smart, scientific guy. They don't, you know, talk about theology or you know, making fun of NASA or anything like that. It's just like measuring the Earth flat using science, hardcore science. And he's the guy who runs the Flat Earth debate show on YouTube for a long time. It's got to be at least like 8 years or something like that, I would think. Um, but yeah, I told people that I think it was on your show, one of them, where I was saying how I was supposed to go on that show, and then all of a sudden it was he didn't have me on the show, and I thought it was because of my model, and I talk about the ether, and he doesn't want to get into models and this and that. But they actually, him and his team just hit me up, I think like 2 weeks ago, and Nathan has just released a book about this thing that they figured out that basically, like, we all know, like, they used the stars to travel and navigation. They were able to do that using the stars.
Hmm.
And they're able to prove scientifically that in order for that to work, the Earth has to be flat. And he got this new book that he just released, and he wants to promote it. So he hit me up, or his people did, and he's wants to do some shows with me. He wants to get on the Killer Priest podcast. So I already talked to Killer about that. I'm going to get him on Killers. And then I brought up the guy Bro Sanchez that I've been on a bunch of times, big flat Earth channel. And I told him, let's do a big show. So I think in like 2 weeks, a Saturday at the end of this month, it's going to be me, Nathan Oakley, Bro Sanchez, and some other people. We're going to do a big show promoting his new book and talking about uh, this new scientific thing he's proving to absolutely prove again the Earth has to be flat. So I know most of us are flat earthers and we don't need any more proof, but again, where there's the different pieces of the puzzle, like I think it's great how like Dave will go and abuse NASA and do things, and uh here it is, I'm someone promoting a different type of model, but there's also that scientific thing, right? For people that aren't Christian or looking at it at that angle, they consider themselves smart, scientific people, right? And
Hmm.
for that, I would say Nathan Oakley is the best because here it is that's how they do it. It's just scientific talk, scientific experiments. Um, and he does, live debates where he'll take on anybody. So, um, yeah, I think it's good for flat Earth.
Is Nathan Oakley? Is he a square? A
Like I said, he
square?
won't get into a model.
Oh,
He's
he
just
won't.
like, I'm just gonna, to me, it's just about proving that the Earth is flat.
Okay.
He doesn't want to talk about models or the ether or theology or anything like that. He just wants to prove scientifically that the earth is measured flat and that they could prove it scientifically. And that's, I mean, a different piece, but it's still part of the body for the flat earth community. And I like to give him his credit, and I think he's important, and what he does is important. And excited to hear more about the book and do a show with him. And then I told him, once I do those two shows, I want you to come on my show, on my channel. So I'll probably at some point have him come on my channel for my audience to have some fun with him.
Oh, that's great. Let me share my screen. I want to show people in case no one has seen this video. It's it's here tucked away 5 months ago. Part three. Vinny B planting seeds, the true flat Earth model, and we get into the nitty gritty on, like we go through that model, right? That Roman had done
Hmm.
that. It's like an animation based on Roman's we'll call that like the Enochian model or the portal where the sun and the moon are passing through a portal on the east or a portal on the west and then coming back out on a portal through a portal on the east, right?
Hmm.
Or
Yes.
vice versa, whatever. I don't know which. I don't remember which side the.
Goes through the west and pops out the east. That's why I talk about, like, why does the whole world accept the fact that the sun rises in the east and Japan's the land of the rising sun? Because again, if it's a circle dish or a ball, you could just pick any location. Let's just say England, since we're basically taught England is the powerhouse that created this world we're in right now. You would say, well, the sun rises in England or it sets in England. You know what I mean? And create a model to show that as the West or the East. Uh, if you're in California and you look to the West, they don't say, oh, there's China, that's the West. No, they say that's still the East, even though it's west of them, right? Because it's not circular. We are in a square box where there's geographical east, west, north, and south. Not directions, but geographical locations.
Yep, and this is kind of the model right here that I'm playing. This is Roman's model. Me and Vinny went over this in our last video. It's amazing. I'm so glad that people are actually researching this, right? Not because it matters. It doesn't matter because a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't care." But to me it matters. I just cuz I'm curious. I want to
Yeah,
know like but this is kind of that when we say conveyor belt, this is what we're saying, right? So they're moving straight above us, but
I don't see
that's
it. I see
oh, you don't
something
see
that
it?
says Vinny B planting seeds part 4,
Oh, okay.
increase in natural that yeah.
I don't know why that happened, but I'm gonna put a link to that video in
Cool.
the description box.
Yeah. And the US Army training video again where I point out a UTM uh grid with the military and aviation and GPS. Everything's based off of a UTM map grid, which is all squares, squares inside of squares inside of squares. And if you're making a map and it's the only map that has scale bar, and this is what they're using in the military and for aviation, well, then our world has to be square. It can't be a circle dish and you fit squares all over it. There would be overlapping, towards the center. It wouldn't work on a ball either, obviously. It only works on a square or a rectangle. And yeah, and I brought up how I think that the whole structure could be like a pyramid where the bottom base would be a square and then it's just, almost squares but getting smaller, smaller. And the Illuminati, the Masons, whatever, they hijacked that symbol and made it like, oh, this is for Lucifer, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. But in reality, it was a Christian symbol representing God sitting on his throne above the firmament, and that and then you got the different levels of heaven. And I think that symbol is actually a Christian symbol that was hijacked by these people and turned into, oh, this is an evil symbol to us. But
Interesting, because someone that was on my channel recently said the pyramids were like evil and get rid of them. The she was specifically talking about those like organite pyramids, the ones that filter like harmful like EMFs. They have
mhm.
like little copper wire and little gold shavings and stuff in them. Um, she was saying if you have those, they're like, I don't know, they attract negative energy or something. Maybe it has nothing to do with the actual pyramids, but yeah, I wouldn't. So you think the pyramids were built by who?
Oh, well, that's a different. I was talking about that symbology that they hijacked, and
Oh,
you know
the
the the,
symbolism
the
of it. I
symbol
see. Yeah.
that you see
Okay.
like carvings and pictures of a pyramid with the eye. I think that was actually a Christian symbol representing God, not Lucifer, and how the Masons and these people that now hijack everything. Like I said, they've even hijacked the cross and make it like, oh, well, that's the pagan zodiac sign. That's not about Jesus. The obelisk, right? For people who remember, I'm the guy who was pointing out the obelisk. They tell us this is an Egyptian symbol for a penis. And it's like, well, if you want to believe that a square, pointy thing it represents the penis, I don't know what you're working with, but most of them, I don't picture square, pointy as meaning a penis. It's just like, again, them just insulting our intelligence and programming us like, oh yeah, this is for Osiris's phallic. But and then you go to all these Catholic and Christian churches from the 1800s and all over early 1900s all over America. You see obelisks all over them, and they were Christians. And now you think these people in the late 1800s and early 1900s were putting up tombstones for an Egyptian penis? Like that's not what it was. You know what I mean? And again, why would something square and pointy when we know they can make columns circular, you can make a phallic symbol a lot better than square and pointy. But they've hijacked all this stuff because again, I think they want to hide the millennial kingdom. They don't want anybody to believe Jesus was real. They don't want you to believe the Bible was real. They definitely don't want you to know that Jesus, the whole world turned Christian and everything that we're seeing was Christian. So hijack everything and say, well, that's pagan. That's not Christian. And I pointed out there was a researcher who was in Cairo, and he was looking at all the exhibits, and he was like, this can't be Egyptian. There's Christian symbols everywhere. And then the museum went and took all the symbols out. And he was like, this is clearly Christian. This isn't Egyptian. I put that in one of my videos. Um, yeah, so it's a hiding of the millennial kingdom and of Jesus and Christianity, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I put a link to your channel too. Guys,
Thank you.
Go to Vinny B's channel, his YouTube channel. He's got incredible information, like you said, the military, the UTM
UT.
map,
Yeah.
the military training video that really is pretty incredible proof right there. I mean, if they're using a rectangular flat Earth map for their military operations, there's got to be something to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And like I said, no circle dish or ball. None of those maps have a scale on it. And most of them will actually say for entertainment purposes only because it's not reality. You can't use a ball or a circle dish um to map out what this place really is because it's a flat square plane. And
Yeah,
I don't think we really even know about all the land. We could get into some of that later or whatever, but I think that's another big topic is there's more land. We could talk more about Antarctica, like something I found recently, Tony, when looking back into the Admiral Byrd stuff. Because I'm also the guy who says I know most people want to say the North is where the land of Jesus or the camp of the saints is at, and I've been saying the opposite, saying that I believe it's actually to the south and past the ice in Antarctica. So you got so I came across this video, and it was a Russian scientist or a doctor. He was called like Captain First Class Doctor of History in Russia. And for people who don't know, Russia actually founded, uh, I shouldn't say founded, found Antarctica in like 1820 before America or anyone else. I think Russia was the first ones, in at least our generations to know about it, our history that we know of, founded it. And get into Operation. So this Russian scientist is talking about Operation High Jump, right? Which most of us flat earthers have heard about and know about Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump. And this Russian points out a lot of great things, which is it was actually set up as a military thing. It wasn't for exploration. It was military based. And then I even seen a video of Admiral Byrd a year before they went in the speech saying that this is a military thing. So here it is. You got America showing up in like, December 1946, uh, and into 47. It was supposed to be a 6 month process of a military incursion. They brought like 12 ships. There was two destroyers, an aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier had like maybe six planes on it. You had, I think it was 4,700 people that were going out there. And this was classified as a military incursion. And what happens? Destroyer gets destroyed, people get killed, and they pack up ship and run out of there after like 2 months, right? And then you got the famous quote of Admiral Byrd telling people that um, in the next war, where America's going to face basically, obviously, they came across some advanced technology out there. And his exact words were, is they could fly from pole to pole, I'll say south to north, um, incredibly fast. So he's talking about like there's this group out there that has superior technology that we're gonna have to deal with at some point. And then after that, a couple of years later, I don't know if it was like maybe 1959, they signed the Antarctica peace treaty where everybody or 12 countries at that time, now I think it's like 30 or 40 are involved in the treaty where nobody's to go down there. Uh, Now, why is that? To me, it seems like what this Russian saying and what I'm kind of alluding to is that there is possibly the camp of the saints or at least some type of advanced people that are down there that they were trying to get into and got their butt kicked and had to leave and were just like, we can't beat these people. So who would that be? And to me, for us Millennial Kingdom people who were talking about where's the camp of the saints, I mean, why can't it possibly be there? Um, Advanced technology. I would think that maybe this is a place that's being protected away from this area and not allowing uh, this satanic group, these satanic nations, which we clearly are at this point. It should be clear to everybody who lives in America for sure that we're not Christian nations at this point. And these cats are crazy right now. I'm sorry. But you know, and that ice is put up there basically as a deterrent and to try to make it hard for them. And then even if they're flying planes, they're getting taken down, destroyers getting sunk, and they have advanced technology. Obviously, I don't think it's gray aliens. I think it's possibly the camp of the saints.
Let me share my screen. I want to ask you a few questions about a few things. So first of all, the Antarctica Treaty um, was signed on 1959 by 12 countries,
Yeah, I was
and
right.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, and I just find this interesting. Look at the upcoming meetings. So they had one on May. They had one in May. With was it about
Japan.
with Japan? Look at Hiroshima of all
Yeah.
places. Uh, and there's one coming up September 29th with Korea, Incheon, Korea. I don't even know. That's kind of interesting. Um, you can see. I wonder if you can see the content of their meetings. Probably not, right? Let's see.
I don't
You
know. They
see?
might. But again, it's going to be the public uh stuff, you know what I mean? Not the not the reality of what's going on. It'll be like,
Protected
oh, yeah, protect the
areas.
water and stuff like that probably.
Hey, look at that. There's a
Yeah, they're going to
little.
make it like they're about protecting this environment, yet
What?
we're watching them spray aerosols and destroy this whole place. They obviously don't care about the environment or protecting anything.
What an odd photograph for them to include. Is that supposed to be of one of their like little bases?
Yeah, I
What
guess
isn't that a bizarre photograph?
it is.
Like what?
It looks like almost fake. Like
It
you
looks
just,
fake. Like what's
yeah.
this? It's like somebody put a I don't know, an ice vanilla ice cream or something in front of the picture. It's really bizarre, this photo.
Yeah.
What else do they have? Liability. There's the penguin. There we go.
Yeah.
There's the indoctrination. They're just penguins there. That's it. Nothing to see. All
Yeah.
right. So
But then you got the ones that that get into the conspiracies, and where do they lead you right away is to aliens. That's where you're gonna see everybody leads goes into it's got to be aliens, there's UFOs and all this stuff. And again, to me that's just a cover up of the camp of the saints, um, the land of Jesus is how I see it more.
protected areas. Hold on. I saw something that said protected areas map, and then I lost it. See if you go to information exchange. What maps? What maps? Let's see what map they're pushing.
You know what's funny is when you read the stuff about Admiral Byrd and them and they're flying the planes, they literally have hundreds of thousands of photographs they were taking and videos. Like, why don't we get to see any of that?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Why do we got to look at this CGI stuff or these cartoon drawings? Why don't you show us the 100,000 photos you took that are actually real?
right. Definitely something shady. All right, back to the maps. So can you see
Hmm.
this screen with all the different
Yeah.
maps? Okay.
Yeah.
If you type in, I just typed in oldest flat Earth maps. There's
Hmm.
hundreds of old maps, and this is why a lot of people question. There's only a couple that are can be construed as being, rectangular in shape. There's
Hmm.
this the very first map.
Hmm.
This is one of the oldest maps, um, right? One of, and this is kind of rectangular, right? There's still a little,
Yeah.
it's,
And you could have an east and a west
yep,
portals at the ends.
it's more oval, kind of oval, but it's not
Hmm.
just it's not a pizza dish.
Yeah.
But my question, Vinny, is how do we respond to the people that go, no, it doesn't make sense that it's a rectangle because we've talked about this before, but just for
Yeah.
people who are
For
new,
who haven't heard.
explain what is your opinion on who made these maps and why pretty much the majority of them. I mean, even this one, and I have this one on hanging on my wall. I
Yeah.
bought it before I met you.
Yeah.
If I had met you first, I wouldn't have bought this. Um, but
No, but
like,
I told you it's cool because and again, it's showing you because it's described as there's four angels in the four corners, not quarters, corners that blow the wind, right? So it's showing you because they want to have that, right, which is a biblical thing. But then they also want to kind of create this circle globe type of thing, I guess. It's again where we talk about being put into a box. And if you already have something in your head like, well, this is what I want to prove and this is what I believe and I want to have stuff to, prove what you already believe, then you're going to have to come up with things like this. Again, to me, so looking at this, you go towards the equator or any of these, the stars and the sun are going in a straight line. So it's not what that's showing. Like that's not based on reality. If you were in, let's say there, like northern South America, and you see that dark black line, that's the equator, right? But if you're standing there and you're looking up, you're not seeing the sun and the stars circling around the North Pole.
mm,
In reality, you're watching them go in straight lines.
mm-hmm,
And then the further south you go, they start going the opposite. So like the north will look like it's circling clockwise around the northern pole, and in the south, it's counterclockwise around the southern pole. And that's how they're able to create this theory of we're on a ball spinning and there's two poles, and that's why it looks like this. So to me, as long as there's straight lines at the equator, I just have to be honest and say it's not possible for that. There's certain things that are seen in the stars that can't be correct, and that's what was the first thing for me back in like I don't know if it was like 2018 or something when I just started finding too many problems with this model. The 24-hour sun in Antarctica, I know it's a sore subject and gets a lot of flat earthers rowdy. Again, I don't care for Jaron or trust him, but I was someone who said way before that and for years that there is a 24-hour sun down there. And I think why flat earthers and people argue that is because if there's a 24-hour sun in the south, then this model can't work. So that's why you have to just keep saying that it's not true. I guess they CGI'd it. They had green screens. The thousands of scientists and people who go there are all lying. Um, you have to stick with that, right? Uh, to me, I was open-minded and was like, well, if it's not a circle dish, what could it be? And uh, and then I found Roman, and then I spent, a year or two thinking about it. I didn't just right away say, well, this is what it is. I started having my own epiphanies, like watching the moon change completely in the sky in one day. And then it was like a light bulb went off of the Book of Enoch. And I think I've told you in your audience, it was like all of a sudden I realized, like, oh man, there's got to be portals and there's got to be more supernatural. And started looking into Enoch, and then talking with Roman and f figuring out more. Uh, but all these maps you're saying these are the oldest maps, right? Well, these aren't the oldest maps. These are all new maps. They're all within the past couple hundred years. And for all the people that I gave you the flamenco books, or if anybody wants it,
This is
one of the books is called Ancient, like Old Maps and Coins. And you could look at the maps. I mean, there's maps in the 1800s that don't have uh, anything really, like they don't even show the west coast of America and certain things. So a lot of these maps that we're seeing are newer.
yeah. Even this one, it's like kind of promoting like a ball, almost like
That's I
they
mean,
spread
and
out the ball.
and we know
Yeah.
that nobody believed they were on a ball, like nobody, until like the past 100 years. And so, I mean, to me, these are newer maps that they've, are telling us are a lot older than they are. And you might have had people that were part of these cults or Freemasons, and these people that were creating this deception and trying to, create these lies of evolution and you're on a ball and this and that. And people were so connected to the Bible, right? During this millennial kingdom, and then probably like right after it, there was still that strong conviction. Because again, to me, it wasn't that long ago that everything was about the Bible. Again, it's more of a recent thing where people have turned away from the Bible. And you wouldn't have been able to tell them that you lived on a flying water ball in the 1800s, and these people that they would have laughed at you.
This is supposedly the oldest known map. It's Babylonian. Let's see. The uh, Imago Mundi, 6th century. But do we trust anything from Babylon? I mean, um, then
Or
there's
do we
this.
trust anything that the system is saying is the truth? I
Yeah, true.
we'll get into that too, like where these places really are and stuff. I know that was pretty controversial, and a lot of people probably want to hear me talk about America being Egypt and all this other stuff. So,
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
yeah,
So anyway, so you're saying that these because this
these
is
are newer maps that they're
pe
telling us,
yeah, because
we're 1500s or whatever. But
there's people that are basing all their research on the findings of the Camp of the Saints, like on these old maps, like
mhm.
everything that they're talking about on their channel is based on these old maps.
Yeah, I know. My buddy Ricardo over there, who's part of the Millennial Kingdom, and you met on the show I had. I tried to tell him for years, like I'm sorry, bro. Like I'm never gonna agree with that. I can't because again, there's certain things that prove that the circle dish is sort of a psyop to me. I've
Hmm.
said it. The flat Earth started taking off and got so big. I'd say in about 2016, and there was the people that wanted to say, "Oh, well, flat Earth is a psyop now because now it was getting big, right?" And I'm like, flat Earth isn't a psyop. What it is that model, I think. I think flat Earth is obviously real and is the truth and provable, as Nathan will say, provably measured flat. Um, but I think you had Eric Dubay and all the big flat earthers promoting this circle dish that they knew at some point they could discredit a lot of parts of it and make us look bad. And that's what I told Dave and Dubay and all these people for years, way before. For people who've never heard me talk before, I didn't, after the final experiment, come out and be like, yeah, I always knew that there. No, I said it for years. At some point, they're going to point out a 24-hour sun. They're going to point out the stars going in straight lines. They're going to do stuff to make us look dumb and to get people to try to make flat Earth, look stupid. And I've heard personally from people who've talked about after the final experiment, there were more than just Jaren. that were like, well, then the Earth can't be flat. There's a 24-hour sun in the south. So I think they did a good job. And then you had, all this end fighting in the flat Earth community. So to me, it's like, again, divide and conquer. I feel like the PSYOP is that model for flat earthers. And you don't have to believe my model or whatever. I'm just saying that that model, the circle dish, is always going to be able to be discredited, in my opinion. And I have a couple of videos pointing out simple things that make it that it's not it can't work. Um, I'm sorry, I don't mean to,
No, don't
you
apologize.
know. Well,
You're
I
very
feel
you're
bad,
ver- you're very
because
brave to stand your ground on this because again, there's a lot of and it doesn't mean subscribers and views doesn't mean anything, right? The truth is always going to stand on its own. But I'm just saying, there's a lot
mhm,
of big channels that everything they're doing is based on these old maps. So my
yeah,
hats off to you for
thank you.
standing your ground, not succumbing to the pressure of what's popular and what's
Yeah,
widely accepted on YouTube or um
yeah. Well,
and
like I told you last time, I think that's the cool thing about me is that I have tough skin. I'm a tough New Yorker from the Bronx, tough Italian from the Bronx. I feel loved by Jesus and family and friends, and uh, I've been called crazy for over 20 years. Like I got tough skin. I'm not afraid of being laughed at or people getting mad at me. So to me, that lets me think freely. I don't. Uh, I like to do my own thinking, is like I tell people. That's why a lot of times I don't even want to watch other people's stuff and have it like put thoughts in my head. I want to constantly have my own thoughts. And um, like I've said, even with the Millennial Kingdom people to Paul, 4 years ago, like I don't want to come on and talk about what everybody else is talking about. Like I'm not here to make money or try to like be famous and get a big following. Like I want to talk about things that I've come up with or things that nobody else is really saying. And then I'm interested in talking. You know what I mean? What's the point of me coming on saying something that everybody else keeps saying?
right, like
So
an echo
yeah,
chamber.
I just want to show my face. Look, it's me, and I'm part of it. And subscribe, hit like and subscribe.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I don't think I've ever said those words. I've never said hit the like and subscribe button.
No, and to me, it's also I want to learn. Just like I know this audience and people. It's not about being right, right? We're searching for the truth, and to me, that's by having open debate and having disagreements, so you could hear other sides. I want someone to explain. And if someone can't, then I'm sticking with what I believe. Until, but then one day maybe someone will have an explanation to me of why the stars go in straight lines at the equator and why they circle around the southern pole. And there's different constellations in the south because like I when Dave Weiss and the whole flat earth community, like the day after the final experiment, you got Joe Hanvey and these models coming out trying to explain how it could be a circle dish and the stars rotating opposite in the south. And right away, within a minute, I was like, Dave, like I already discredited that. Like that model you're showing is like it's inverting the stars, so that's why they're like upside down and spinning in the opposite direction. Yeah, that would work if the stars in the south were actually the same as the north, but they're not. So that model is bang again, discredited. Sorry. I know you guys want to prove your circle dish, but you didn't with that model because there's the Southern Cross in the south that's not in the north. So it's not an inversion of the northern stars being inverted and circling a different way. Uh, so sorry, your model don't work. I can't go with it. I'm going to stick with my best theory for now until you can give me something that makes sense. And I haven't found anyone in years that
So
could explain some of this stuff.
so watch out, your cat's coming up for a sneak attack from
I
behind.
know
I just
we
saw his
got two of
tail.
them and they're all just,
So any progress with Dave Weiss? Has he talked more about the your model or the rectangular
no,
model, or is
he,
he
he hasn't
still?
rejected it. He just, makes it like Vinny. make a better thing, make something quicker and better. And again, I'm busy. For people who don't know, I work like manual. I'm like a construction guy who works Monday through Friday. I get up early. I work my butt off every day. That's what I do for money. And I don't have the time. I'm not going on trips and making lots of money like Dave and other people. That's why I try to go to them and say, hey, I'll work with you and try to help you out, but you're the guy. And for whatever reason, uh, nobody knows except for them. If I could just be taking guesses, pride, whatever, you got money involved in your model, whatever it is, I would just be guessing. I don't know why Eric Dubay and a lot of these people just tell me, I don't understand your model, Vinny. Okay, well then we could talk more, but you keep promoting something that I could just keep discrediting. So why don't you like walk away from that or be open to other ideas? Because there's always going to be certain things with that model that could be discredited. So my hope is that at some point there'll be enough of us that are calling it out that they're going to have to look at a different model. And then maybe they'll stumble and start looking into mine more or Romans and mine.
Well, if I found someone who was like a 3D animator, could they work with you and like revamp that model and make it more
Yeah, I'd love that.
to
I
include the
just
stars?
haven't found anyone that's willing to do it, you know.
Okay, so I say this to the people watching this. If anyone is knows how to do 3D animation, email me bridgewaterbigfoot@gmail.com and let's work with Vinny on putting together his model and getting a good representation of it. Not that Roman's model is it gives you the I mean it's great. It's very detailed, but it's still people look at it. It's still you know what I mean. It's not
Yeah, and I know like Dave said, like you want to have shorter videos. I imagine again, especially for like the youth who are TikTok people and like these shorter videos, like maybe that's a way to reach the younger audience. Um, Shorter videos will probably be easier to get bigger views, maybe. I understand a lot of people don't want to watch something that's an hour or 2 hours long. But again, there's like so much like you said, Roman's done a great job and he has lots of videos for people to go look at. Um, so there's a lot to try to explain, right? So you have to make you can't answer all the questions in a 1 minute video. So that's what's kind of hard for me to figure out. Like I was telling you, I don't, if I make a 1 minute video of just showing the model, there's still going to be all these questions that people are going to have. Like you got to have more than that. But again, to me, it's in God's hands, and whatever's meant to be will be. Um, it, it's not the most important thing. We all know the most important thing is Jesus and salvation, not being able to say, "Well, I knew the real model. I know what the model is." Like that doesn't make me special. Even if I'm right, it doesn't make me special or any better than anyone else. You know what I mean? So. It's just something like I said, there's nobody else saying this, so I feel this obligation to try to talk to flat earthers like, hey, maybe you should get away from that model and I think I have more of a biblical model or like what Enoch was describing and what the ancients believed.
Yeah, I have to say I'm with you, Vinny, on just based on the conversations we've had and the all the great work that you've done and what you've shown me on this. I think you're right. I think and why
I
it's
appreciate it.
important. Yeah, why it's important for me is I want to map. Damn it, I want to
Yeah,
know. I just want to
me
map.
too.
So if I ever have to go somewhere, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go in the right direction.
yeah.
Um, and if there's portals, well, at least we'll know where the portals are, how to get there, right? We're not going to
And
be
to me, it
just,
makes it even more special, this creation. Like it's even cooler. Like when thinking about, like you said, portals and it's like more supernatural than. most
Mm,
flat earthers even think. Like it's just
yeah.
this pizza pie disc and the sun's just circling and the moon. And like that's another thing. Like for the circle dish, Dave will be like, well, as it gets further out, the sun speeds up, right? And you have to have that on the circle dish, right? But I point out the story of the turtle and the hare was based off the sun and the moon. And the sun is always going the same speed. That's what the ancients believed. That's what that story is saying. So the sun isn't going faster and slower, it's always going the same. And it's the moon that jumps ahead of and behind. And to me, I wouldn't say it's because it's going faster. It's when it goes through the portals, every once in a while, it'll jump through another portal and be in a different part of the sky, sometimes in front, sometimes behind, sometimes more to the south or the north.
Mm.
So that story is about the sun and the moon. And on a circle dish, then that story doesn't work either because you're saying the sun has to speed up and slow down. But that's not what the ancients believed. So,
Someone said, Enjo, I'm sorry, I never pronounced their handle. Enjo movies. What if polar bears are actually portal bears?
N goods, that
That's
sounds familiar to me, N goods. That
uh,
I feel
uh,
like I've talked to that person or that,
enjoy movies, I think.
huh,
And
I don't know.
they're great. They're always here in the chat. Enjoy movies. Thank you for always
That's a
being
funny
part
one.
of this conversation.
Portal bears.
Portal bears, I love that. Maybe I'll make a cereal, a new children's cereal called Portal Bears. Okay, speaking of flat Earth, I'm gonna share my screen. I want your take on something, but Vinny,
Hmm.
try to contain your emotions. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Try to contain your emotions. I just want to know because I'm just curious.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just. Can you see my screen?
It says okay. Oh,
Okay.
oh, full retard,
All right,
Tyler.
hold
I
on,
see.
hold off, Vinny. Let's try to contain our emotions because I know how you feel,
Yeah.
but I'm just curious what you think about this. So, to give everyone, Tyler Hansen is saying that JT follows JC is actually Isaac Cappy.
That's who I was thinking that looked like. Okay, yeah,
All right,
as a
let me
cappy.
just play
Yeah.
a little bit of this, okay?
Hey, there's very likely somebody who's going to call me Cappy. Like, it doesn't happen very much anymore, but it used to happen all the time.
For those of you that don't know, that's JT. Joe Telford. JT follows JC talking, and he's talking about Isaac Cappy. Oh, but I'm going to do much more than just point and say they look alike, like I always do. Why don't we first start with that perfect hairline, and then that perfect overlay of their eyes, and both eyes, in fact, in those exact same little pouty lips. And well, have you ever seen how I say they bring their wives with them? Let's take a closer look first. Oh no, they don't look alike at all. Well, hey, there's JT and his wife, and there's Isaac Cappy, and this lady he just happened to bring with him somewhere. Nothing to see there whatsoever. You see JT and his little bosom buddy here, Demon Erasers, they spent more than an hour trying to discredit me and mocking me, and well, it has no impact.
All right. Okay. He does I have to say, he does present some incredible, if not evidence, I'm going to say coincidences in their appearance. I know how you feel about Tyler, but I'm just saying when he shows you the comparisons of their faces, it's very hard to get faces to match up. I don't know if you've ever done that, but the nose, the eyes, the chin, for every part of the face to line up is it's not easy to find perfect matches. What do you think? Is he? I know how you feel about him, but on this issue about the shape shift, the guys playing double roles, what do you think about
Yeah.
that?
Well, to me, it's all right. So how do I do that? No, I think Tyler is here to make us look dumb, to cause end fighting. Uh, Do I think that JT is Isaac Cappy? No, I don't believe that. And you said that it's hard for people to look alike. I disagree. I think that there's a lot of people, and you can find people that look alike. I'm sure if full retard Tyler wanted to take my face and take off half of it, he could probably find someone from the Sopranos series that looks like me and say, I'm Jackie April's son and from the Sopranos or something. I- there's bloodlines and people could look alike. Uh, I remember when I first was looking into Illuminati bloodlines, the woman that I outed, she looked like Jimmy Carter to me, and then I found out that she was part of like these Illuminati bloodlines, and she had a son, and I knew their last name. I don't want to really say it right now, uh, publicly, just being out of respect for these people, and one of those people with that same name was playing in Major League Baseball, and I'd look at him and I'd be like, man, he looks just like Tony. That was one of the brothers. His name was Tony, and it's because they're related. They had the same hair, the same features. Uh, that video was real quick, but even like when I was looking at the women, like the noses weren't the same on those women. The lips weren't the same to me. Um, I don't think the eyebrows were the same on Isaac, Cappy, and the other one. They're close, but we've all heard the term doppelganger, right? Someone that looks like you. So I think it's a big waste of time. I don't understand, why he thinks, Elvis Presley is Donald Trump and this and that. Like, what is the point of that? What is the point of him saying that Joe Biden is Jim Carrey? Like, let's just say you're right. Like, okay. Like, so what's the point of it? And then what? Like, Jim Carrey will act like Biden, then jump on a plane and go to Hollywood and then do something as Jim Carrey, and then what? Turn back into Biden and go to Washington. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. And you know that Tyler is someone that's attacked me and people I know personally. Uh, has said I'm obviously a Freemason. Uh, has attacked people I know, calling them Satanist when I know them and they're good Christian people. So I think Tyler's got problems. I won't do what he does and slander people and just accuse him of being a shill or an agent. I'll just say that he causes end fighting and people fighting with each other. He's not bringing anyone together. He's putting doubt. He's wasting time. We have bigger things to talk about than JT looks like Isaac Cappy, in my opinion. Um, and again, let's just say you're right and I'm wrong. Now what? Like, what do you want to do with that? Like, what do you, just like I told you, someone wrote me and was like, the Chinese president is Jackie Chan. And I wrote the woman, I'm like, okay, let's say you're right. What do you want me to do with that? I don't know what do
What did
we,
she say?
that Jackie Chan is the president of China or something. And I'm like, okay, well, like, now what do you want me to do? I don't understand what it changes. Uh, to me, he's a clickbait guy. He's making good money on his TikToks or whatever. And, he has an audience that I guess likes that type of information. So he's feeding them stuff so they'll keep clicking so he can keep making money. But is that real research? Is that really important? No. You're also attacking everybody. Uh, so I guess clearly you have this big ego. Even picking the name, the fittest flat earther, you're saying that, you're more fit than everybody else, right? You're the best flat earther, I guess. And everybody else must be a Mason and a shill or, Isaac Catty and others. I I just don't. I just feel like he's there to cause problems as opposed to bringing people together and getting to more important subjects.
Oh, Marlon Wicks says Tyler was banned from TikTok.
Really
I was
surprised.
I was just about to say the
Figured
fact that they're
TikTok would love him.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the fact that they're letting him continue, like, because I mean, he actually got into it with Jim Brewer, and Jim Brewer personally responded, and I was actually shocked to see what Jim Brewer said. It was very like,
Well, I think you
uh,
sent that to me, and I did watch that a couple months ago.
yeah, maybe, and
Yeah.
it was a very unprofessional response for someone of Jim Brewer's, stature
Well, he is
in
a
the
comedian.
industry, and it wasn't very comedian like. It sounded like he was really like angry at
Angry. Yeah.
Tyler. Um,
Well, people take things different. Not everybody's just going to laugh like I do. Some people are going to get irritated and mad at
so
being attacked or being lied about. Some people might, their reaction might be anger, you know.
yeah, but to them po, po
He calls me a Freemason, and I just laugh at him, and I told him you're a full retard, and I just laugh and go about my business. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. My take on this is, do I believe that they're a fallen angel? I do believe a lot of the celebrities and politicians are fallen angels or something. I don't think they're all human. Um,
I'm open to
so
that. I mean,
yeah, but
I,
what he's doing is causing division.
yes,
He's going after Moon Henry. And hey, he may be right. But he's not doing it in a, I think, but he should approach these guys in person. Apparently, he's friends with people, and then instead of like calling them and saying, "Hey, man, I got to ask you a question," he makes a video about them being
yes.
a fallen angel, and then calls them or texts them and says, "Hey, watch my new video about you. Don't call me anymore." And just like he did to Dave Weiss, right?
Yeah, and these two guys that I know personally, that's how like I told you it was. I went on Paul's channel, Understand Conspiracy, to talk about Millennial Kingdom actually, like 4 years ago. Timeline deception, all this stuff. I never heard of Tyler. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have Twitter or anything. I'm not on Facebook. I don't have anything. And like I said, I don't really watch other people's stuff. I do my own thing. And so I didn't even know who Tyler was. And I get an email from a bunch of people, and one of them happens to be Tyler. And Tyler's like, man, that was the best show I've seen in years. And, he's talking up how much he liked the show I did. And then he was like, check out this video I made. And he sends me a video of, Joe Biden being Jim Carrey. And again, I don't know who he is. So I just laugh and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's funny, because again, I, is this humor? I don't understand what it is. Okay. Ha ha ha, funny, I guess. And then I guess he told these other guys he was friends with, shout out Firmamental Podcast, awesome flat earthers, Raul. And so so they invite me on the show because they're like, oh, Tyler told us to have you on the show, that, we got to get you on. So I became friends with these two guys, and they were awesome. They're both Christian and awesome guys. I had great time with them. And then all of a sudden, Tyler starts attacking them, saying that they're Satanist. And then he writes me saying, "Oh, I'm sorry I introduced you to these guys. I believe they're Satanist." And I'm just like, they're not Satanists, they're Christian. What are you talking about? And then he went on to make videos exposing these guys who I'm still friends with to this day. I talk to them, every couple weeks. I'll hear from them. They're good guys and they're Christians. And they were really upset that Tyler went and started making videos saying that these guys are Satanists. So everything you're saying, I actually know firsthand from dealing with Tyler. And then Tyler attacked me because I said that, you never go full retard. And Tyler then attacked me and said, you're clearly a Freemason. And I said, wow, you know, great research, buddy. Like, what are you talking about? Again, we know who we are. I know I'm not a Freemason. I've actually turned them down and talked about it publicly. So to me, it's just, what do? You just laugh. It's like if I told you, Tony, you're really a Satanist Freemason. You're just gonna, that you're not. So you wouldn't get upset. You would be like, man, this guy's retarded, right? And that's basically how I looked at Tyler. I'm like, you know, you've gone full retard, Tyler, and you're clearly just slandering people. So to me, that's not very Christian-like. And you call these people your Christian brothers, then like you said, why don't you talk to them personally? Like if I thought you were a Satanist, I wouldn't go and make videos saying Tony's a Satanist. I would talk to Tony and say, hey, Tony, I saw this and that. I heard you say this and that. Can you explain this to me? Because I would talk to you out of respect and compassion for like you're my brother and a friend. I would talk to you. I wouldn't make a video to get clicks, slandering you. So the fact that that's what he does, uh, you know,
Y-
you don't seem like a really good Christian, even though you might say you're a Christian. Your actions aren't showing that to me.
Yeah, he's
So,
profiting off of discrediting
and drama.
other
People love
other
drama.
influencers. Yeah.
Clickbait
Um,
drama.
I want to go into the chat for a minute.
Sure.
And thank you for addressing that, Vinny. I know that's a sore subject for you,
It's really not because, like I
but
said, I laugh at it. It's just
yeah,
I just laugh at this guy because to me he's like a cartoon character. He's just a clown.
yeah.
Um,
Enjoy Movies says Jim Carrey did play Joe Biden on SNL. Yes, and
he did. He did
look.
a good job too. I
There's
saw it.
masks. There's masks that are so realistic now. The CIA showed us this, right? They did that training video. You can put them on in a bathroom and come
Hmm.
out and you're a different person and no one can
Yeah.
tell the difference. You could fool the Secret Service and walk right up to the president with how realistic the masks are.
Hmm.
Um, so I do believe that there's people fooling us with
But what's the
Tyler.
purpose? You know what I mean? What's the purpose of? And so
Yeah,
what was so while Joe Biden was in college and senator, the whole time he was Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey was also making movies for Hollywood at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Like, how did it work and why? What's the point? Like, just
yeah.
so Jim Carrey can't sleep and has to just 24/7 hop from character to character.
Maybe there's a clone. I don't know. I don't know
Elvis
how
has
these.
been Donald Trump this whole time. Like they faked his death so he could then turn into Donald Trump. I just it doesn't really add up to me. No offense to anybody who's takes this stuff serious. I'm not trying to laugh at you. It's just I don't really get it, or what's the point of it?
Yeah. And then Senior Spook Fest. Yes, I want to do a paranormal research expedition investigation in back into the Bridgewater Triangle. That's how this channel started. I would love to do that. Just not in the middle of summer because the damn ticks are horrible in there. So email me, bridgewaterbigfoot@gmail.com. Yeah, last thing I'll say about him is I have to be honest. It's like it's entertainment for me. Like I watch his videos. They're entertaining. They really are. He doesn't talk about Jesus though. He doesn't do things to praise or glorify God. And
That's what we're supposed to be doing as Christians, is
right, like
glorifying God.
if I spent all my time making videos about the paranormal and fallen angels, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep good at night. Like I have to use this short time that we have left. I personally feel like I have to use it to share the gospel and glorify God. If I'm not doing that, I'm wasting my time. And when my judgment comes, God's gonna say, "All right, let's see. Here's what you did. You made 30 videos on vampires and 80 videos on zombies. What did you do for me?"
Hmm.
Um, Now, I will say, I do have a new video coming out. It'll probably be out tonight, and it's very scary, but it's very important because it talks about the true nature of the birthday party ritual. And I'm telling you, after I researched this, I am not going to celebrate my birthday. It's not biblical. I'm going to celebrate my patron saint's birthday instead. And that's what they did in the millennial kingdom in early Christianity, and that's what I'm going to do. And I will when you guys see my new video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it has some of the most terrifying footage that I've personally ever seen in my life. So again, and I do have a warning at the beginning of the video, so if you can't stomach that stuff, like some pretty scary, like demonic possession events that happen during birthday parties.
You know,
Um,
just to add to that real quick, the first thing that pops into my head when you say that stuff is my grandfather when I was younger, who came from Italy. Uh, he told me that they didn't celebrate their birthday. They celebrated the saint's name. You know, you were named after a saint. You'd make communion confirmation, and you'd take a saint's name, and that was actually the day they celebrated, like you just said. So here it is, just 100 years ago or less. My grandfather was saying that's what they did in Italy. So right away, my gut's telling me you're onto something, and you're right.
there you go. Confirmed right here, live. You heard it from Vinny B. The birthdays were never. It's again. It's like the Christmas, the Easter, the Halloween. It's a pagan. I get into it in my video. It is a pagan a ritual uh, used to summon energy. Let's just say. I'm not saying it's specifically to summon demons, but you're anyway. Watch the video. But that to me, that's not really glorifying God, but it's like we still have to warn people about the pitfalls of the enemy, right? So to me, that still is kind of, um, but yeah. Well, I appreciate you responding to the stuff about um, Tyler, because that's I just wanted to see what you thought about that. Look, I don't know JT, and I'm not saying he's right about JT follows JC. I don't know JT. Um,
I've been on a show with him.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
you know him, but I don't. But I look, who knows? We don't know. We'll never know, right? We'll never know the truth. But sounds like it's maybe just to cause division. Okay, let's see. I wanted to any questions for Vinny on flat Earth while we're still here? I know I got a text message from a friend that asked if you wanted to say anything about the different levels of heaven. Is that anything that you've
uh,
ever looked into or
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the model that Roman made, it shows ten heavens, which I point out is from the Slavic Bible. The Slavic Bible says there's 10 heavens. Um, I believe like the Egyptians and Babylonians and the Jews believe that there were seven heavens, like seven up. Uh, and then I believe most Christians and the Bible talks about three heavens. I think was it Paul that that mentioned like there's three heavens. So there's different, I guess, views on that. So I mean, at the very least, you got three, and maybe at the most 10, but there's definitely multiple heavens. Um, in the video with Roman, it's like, the first heaven I think might be like the planets, and then the next heaven is another, and it's like different things in each heaven. Uh, so
let's take a look at this real quick. Hey, Kay, brother Kay is in the chat. Um, Kay, what tell us what you know about the levels of heaven. Let me while I share this. So
there
I
you
just
go. So 10,
yeah,
that's what that's what
according
we
to the
have in
Book of
that
Enoch.
video.
Yep.
Hmm.
Check this out. First heaven contains clouds, stars, snow, and morning dew, inhabited by winged angels and the rulers of the constellations. That's interesting. Second heaven, a place of great darkness, holding angelic prisoners who await judgment. Third heaven, a heavenly paradise with the tree of life where the righteous dwell. Oh, interesting. That's like you said, the three heavens. Fourth heaven, the place where the angels who govern the stars reside.
Hmm.
Fifth heaven, the abode of the righteous who have died and are rewarded for their good deeds. Sixth heaven, the place where the angels who are responsible for the winds and the elements reside. Seventh heaven, the dwelling of the angels who are responsible for the souls of the dead. Wow. Eighth heaven, the place where the angels who guard the gates of heaven reside. Wow, so they have like a little guard house, a guard station where they interesting. Ninth heaven, the dwelling of the archangels and the highest order of angels. That'd be like where Michael
Hmm.
lives. And then 10th heaven, obviously the highest heaven where God resides and the divine presence is felt.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I wonder if there's any images of this. Let's see what Kay says.
Hmm.
Um, see if there's a good. Here's your pyramid, right? And that
Yeah.
again, a pyramid is a universal like symbol, right?
Hmm.
It could be for anything. It could be for the company you work at, right? They could right. They have a pyramid at your job, right? You got the CEO, then you got the VP, and then you got the district manager, the regional manager. You know what I mean? Like that's a
Hmm.
pyramid. That's so to have. Um, let's see what this says. Earthly paradise. Interesting.
And look at it. It's a pyramid.
Yeah, it is.
And they try to show the earth like a ball, but
Yeah, of course they do. And there's Um, oh, this is kind of interesting.
that looks like the model that we go by, God's tabernacle. That's another thing I forgot to bring up for our model. We go by, there's descriptions where God describes it as a tabernacle, and it gives descriptions in the Bible, and that's why Jews would build a tabernacle like a rectangle or a square. And that again could possibly, that's more like what you're showing right there is basically how uh, Roman and the model that I promote is based on that basically.
And this is New Jerusalem. Like this is the place where we are going to be going. And this is based on the biblical description. These are all the jewels that it's made of.
That
This is
yeah.
the each level contains whoa. Each level is 125. Hold on a second. Each level is 125 miles high. Each level contains 2.2 million square miles.
This place is a lot bigger than we think.
I guess so. Mighty angels guard each gate. This is a cool. I'm gonna save this image.
Yeah, I
This
like
is.
that one.
I'll put a link to this image. I just kind of came across it. It's got all the biblical references and a great graphic. I've never seen such a descriptive graphic of the New Jerusalem. And there's the throne of God. There's Jesus. There's the phoenix. See that?
Hmm. Hmm.
Innumerable host of angels, the 24 elders, the four beasts, full of eyes on the rims of their wheels within a wheel. That's from Ezekiel 118 through 21. This is pretty incredible. I'll
Yeah, I
put a
like
link
this
to
one.
this. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. Um, anyway, so yeah, that's just somebody wanted to ask about that, and these are the things that we're all looking at now because we know that, or a lot of us believe, Vinny, that our time is near.
Hmm.
That we are going to be gathered up and brought to the camp of saints before some major stuff goes down. And we've done a lot of research on this channel into Second Esdras, which talks about little season end times, and so doesn't Baruch and the book of Enoch. The Apocalypse of Abraham. And
Okay.
we really do believe that we are like knocking at the door with how much time we have left based on what we're seeing. That's why I brought up to you at the beginning about the earthquakes and all the
Mhm.
disasters happening all around the world. They're getting worse like by the day.
Everything is.
Yeah, everything is. The animals
And we call
dying.
ourselves like Millennial Kingdom, and what's the other term? Short season, right? I mean, a short season, it means it's not going to be long. So yeah, it's not going to be going on for hundreds of years. We're not going to have to wait that long.
Right. Absolutely. Um, so last time also me and you did a video called The Bible in America,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That video, hold on. That video, I think that video has like 40,000 views, 42,000 views, which is incredible. A lot of people, Vinny, are interested in that subject.
Yeah,
And
I've gotten a lot of emails about that, and you know, so I figured that'd be another cool topic for us
y-
to talk more about.
yeah, so
Um,
so let me just start with this. I had a guest on last week. Her name's Rachel K. Baldwin. She wrote a book called The Strong um oh God, I always forget this word. The Strong Delusion. Sorry. I don't know why. It's like chemtrails have destroyed my memory. Um, and she and her husband went to Utah and they found incredible evidence that that a lot of that stuff happened in Utah. And then I was watching a movie late one night. I just said I want to put something on I can fall asleep to. I turned on I think it was it YouTube? Might have been YouTube or Netflix. I'm not sure. And the first movie that pops up is a movie called The Postman with Kevin Costner. It's like a
I remember that. That was a while ago.
yeah,
I don't really remember
90
too much about it.
90s,
Yeah.
late 90s. And the very first scene, he's in the so it's post-apocalyptic and it takes place like I think in the 2020s, right? Um and it shows him in the desert with his horse and it says the Salt Flats, Utah. So
Hmm.
it tells us he's in Utah. And then it shows him later on top of a gas station. Remember those old gas stations? They were called 76. That was their. It's a gas station that I don't even know if they're around anymore. But their logo is just the number 76,
Uh-huh.
and it shows him sitting on top of a 76 gas station with the number 76, and behind him is the Aurora Borealis. What happened in 76? Christ returned, and behind him is the the heavenly kingdom
Hmm.
essentially. And then after that he's on a different building with a billboard for copper tone bronze, and it says maximum protection for a millennium. So I believe that movie was giving us hints about the little season and
Interesting.
telling us also that stuff happened in Utah. Like, why would they pick Utah of all places for them
Hmm.
to say that he's in? Is it a coincidence that anyway? So tell us what you think about the Bible happening in America.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened on that show. Um, I've actually been into this topic since 2019, and I'm going to give credit and a shout out to a guy named Kurimeyu, who actually for people who are on my channel and want to see, what I'm doing soon. Next weekend, I'm actually planning on doing a show with Kurimeyu where he's going to come on on my channel, and I'm going to try to do a live stream for you, the audience, to be involved in if you got questions. To me, Kurimeyu is he's just got a ton of information. Where again, this is what he does for a living. This is how he makes his money every single day. I don't know. He's got like 1,700 videos, uh, thousands of books. Me and him, we met, and I had him on Killer Priest one time, and we've been friends for like 6 years. And he to me, he's got tons of great evidence and some controversial subjects. So yeah, I've been into this thing for probably like 6, 7 years, and I've been very open-minded to it, how I am with everything. I don't think anything's crazy, right? Especially us flat earthers. It's like right when you realize that, like nothing's really crazy. After that, like you, after a while, you accept that everything you've been told's a lie. Why would history, science, anything be any different? So I already have this open mind to where I'm down to listen to new information. So yeah, I brought up on that show that Utah possibly being Jutah, and you got basically all these biblical locate geographical locations out there. from the Grand Canyon to Utah. You got like all the mountains, and it doesn't line up. That's where I was like calling out that Israel out there. First of all, like I said, that Israel out there wasn't even created till like the 1940s. Okay. And they were created by who? The Rothschilds and these people that we all can't stand and say are the evil people, right? Bunch of Satanists, not Jews or Irish, or they're Satanists, and they are running this wicked world, and everything bad going on goes back to these people. Rothschilds being a very big player in this. They created that Israel. And I alluded to that's because they want to do a fake end times event. I don't want to get off track, but so there's more stuff that actually lines up with being over here. And I told everybody I have a video to where you can get more detail. It's called like Ancient Oriental Masonic Book Says America's Egypt. In that video, it goes into where the Masons themselves say America is Egypt. Like that's not theory. That's literally what the Masons believe, um, and what they teach in their books. Uh, so yeah, you got like Mount Nebo. I can't remember like all the 7 different names, but in that video I have it. That's why I mentioned in that video. If you go into that, you'll see a guy break down the stuff. You could see they're all like in walking distance. So uh, Noah or Moses, they could have been walking in these things, and they're all located right there in the Grand Canyon. So there's also, I brought up the fact with America being Egypt, right? So there's just a ton of evidence that don't match up with Africa. Yeah, there's a pyramid in Africa, but guess what? There's like thousands of pyramids all over the earth. You got more pyramids in China than there is in Africa. But you got the biggest pyramid is right there, right here in Mexico. And you got America, if you count north and south, I think it's like over 2,000 pyramids. So it's not like the Egyptians were this little small place in Africa that built 3 pyramids and boom, that's it. Like, no, pyramids were built everywhere. Uh, I've talked about with the Mississippi, the original name that the Indians were calling it before it was changed to the Mississippi was called the Great River. The Nile, to the Egyptians was called the Great River, had 7 tri I always mess this word up. I always want to say like the military tribunals, but tributaries, right? Well, the one in Africa doesn't have 7 tributaries, but the Mississippi does. It is the Great River, and it matches the descriptions written about in the past. Um, so I knew we were going to bring this up, and I wanted to show some stuff that I didn't bring up last time. Tony, can you do a screen share with me?
Yep, you can share your screen.
Okay.
If you go
So
at the bottom, click the share button and then
okay,
choose the
hold on.
screen you want to share. And while you were doing that, I actually pulled up a map, and we'll show it later, of all the pyramids in North America. They're everywhere.
Okay, let's
Uh,
see how I could do this. Share.
yep. And then I just have to allow it. If it has sound, make sure you click share
No, it's
sound.
just some pictures I'm going to show.
Okay.
So one of the things I've mentioned last time is the Egyptian gods, right? They had a bunch of different gods, Anubis, Seth, and all these different gods, and they all have different animal heads, right? And I pointed out Anubis, right? We'll just go with Anubis, right? Okay, let's see. Can you see what I'm showing right now?
No, you got to hit share again.
Oh,
So I allowed you to share, and now you click the screen you want to share, and then
oh,
click
okay.
the blue share button. I think it's a blue button.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, now it's working. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay. So what I'm pulling up is they call it the Mexican hairless dog. It has the name down here, XOLO, Zolo, right? So this is indigenous to America. This is Anubis. Look at the face. Now I'll ping up a picture. Here's Anubis. This dog does not exist in Africa. This is where it exists.
Hmm.
Mexico. Here in the Americas. Here's Anubis. not Africa. Africa does not have this. There is no dog in Africa that looks like Anubis. This is the dog that Anubis is based on. And watch, I'm going to prove it even more. Watch this, Tony, when I go down here. Let's go to culture. We're taught that Anubis is what? Like the god of the underworld, right? While they would go on that river in the underworld and he was there to protect them, right? What
Yep.
is this dog known for? Ancient traditions held by the dogs guided human souls safely through the underworld. Hades, soul, hell, right?
Wow. Yep.
So that's what this dog represents, right? And it's exactly the face of Anubis.
Wow.
There it is. There's Anubis, who protected the souls in the underworld. That dog doesn't exist in Africa. And then actually, when you break down into all the animals of the Egyptian gods, they're all indigenous to America. Okay? None of them are indigenous to Africa. So that's one big thing to me, to why I believe that it has to be here. Um, what was the other thing that I was thinking of? Yeah, the Anubis thing. To me, I just, oh, so the other big one to me is corn. So on a lot of these things, they'll show you corn. Some of them you'll literally see that in the hieroglyphs, whatever, they're holding corn in their hand. Well, everybody knows where corn comes from. The whole world knows that corn comes from America. Doesn't come from Africa. Corn comes from America. And for the people who love to talk about Masons like Tyler and them, and lots of people like to talk about, about Masonry. Well, what does the Mason ritual involve? Corn, right? So Masonry and all that has to be from America originally. The Egyptians were doing rituals with corn, right? And the Masons are, basically it's Hiram Abiff, goes back to Solomon, and they're doing rituals with corn, which again would mean you had to have been here. Corn is from America. So to me, there's just tons of stuff proving that the gods, the corn, everything is indigenous to America. Then I found stories where it's like, yeah, I'll stop sharing now. So then you got mainstream science that admits that the oldest fossils are found in America. The oldest uh, water, the oldest things that they find are all here in America. So to us Christians and people like me who've said for a long time, it's like we're in opposite world. We know that the devil just inverts everything, right? So it's like whatever the devil's telling us, we know it's the opposite, right? Well, what is the devil and his little children like the Rothschilds and others, what do they tell us about America? It's the new world. Well, what's the opposite of the new world? It's the old world. And guess what? Science, archaeology, and everything backs that up. Um, so, oh wait, let me see. There was one more thing that I have. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. I'm just gonna do one more screen share. One more thing I think you guys are gonna like. So the third thing I had here, oh, I gotta move this.
Amanda Marie
Okay.
Ministry says there's a movie coming out this month called The Dog Stars. I think I heard about that.
Okay. Here's the last thing I'm going to screen share. It's called Los Lunas Dicatal Dicatalog Stone. Look at what this is. This is in New Mexico. This is the Ten Commandments in Paleo Hebrew. Okay, this isn't
And
something new. They're going to try to tell you that. Now, look, this is where, AI and the beast system is going to try to hijack you. Widely considered a modern hoax by mainstream archaeologists, remains a popular subject of fringe theories. Ooh, like flat Earth and others, right? No, this is real, and they can't hide it. This is Paleo Hebrew. This is ancient Hebrew, which I've told everybody they wrote from right to left. That's what I mean. Everything's inverted now. Now we write from left to right. Paleo Hebrew was right to left. This is Look at that 80-ton volcanic basalt boulder hidden in the mountains. Okay. People have gone there and proved that these are real. They've said that they're, thousands of years old. And this is the Ten Commandments right here in America. This wasn't some Spanish conquistadors and the Inquisition showing up 400 or 500 years ago to discover this place and then what, put Paleo Hebrew Ten Commandments here? No, this was here because clearly Moses and everybody was here. This is the Ten Commandments, Paleo Hebrew,
It,
right here, New Mexico.
is that the
If you
one
want
where
to look it up.
the first one is scratched out, right? Because K actually covered this a couple weeks ago, right? The first somebody scratched off. Go to that second photo and click on that. Yeah, they scratched off the first commandment.
They don't want you to know this stuff.
Yeah.
They're constantly destroying stuff. Like I said last time, you got tons of Roman artifacts in America, in the middle of America, off the coast of America, in South America, in the oceans of South America, Russian pottery, Russian coins, and they're going to try to tell you that it was like some Spanish conquistador that happened to bring over these Roman coins and then just, lose them and then they're getting buried out here in America. All this stuff's here. Egyptian relics all over America.
Right.
And you start looking into it, it's everywhere. With a lot of them being at the Grand Canyon and the stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
and they take this stuff and they hide it because it doesn't go along with their story that they want to keep telling you. The box that they created with their story is, again, man was primitive. This ties into evolution and all this stuff. They have to make it that man was stupid and slowly evolved. And that's why they got to tell you that the Romans, just knew about a little place in the Mediterranean. And nobody knew anything until about 500 years ago when Columbus was going to prove that the earth was a ball and not flat, right? And all this nonsense. It's all these lies, right? Another thing, we know that the Vikings were in America, right? There's tons of evidence for Leif Erikson, right? Son of Eric the Red. I brought that up a while ago where you could tell that's when the Millennial Kingdom must have kind of started. Back then, they didn't even have last names, right? You had Eric the Red or, Blackbeard. These people didn't have last names, right? So Eric the Red being one of the most famous Vikings. His son is Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson was a Christian, became Christian. That's why he took a Christian last name, which is what? Eric's son of Eric the Red. And that's when the last name started. You started creating these family names. So there's tons of evidence that Leif Erikson made it to Newfoundland, but also, the Vikings had this famous saga, as they call them, where there was like these three lands that they explored. One of them they called Vineland. Vineland is Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. And I've seen the archaeology. There's tons of evidence that the Vikings had settlements in Massachusetts. It's admitted that Newfoundland and these other places. To me, I think it was Martha, what we call Martha's Vineyard, which when they showed up, it was just there was just wines and grape everywhere. So that saga, and there's tons of evidence of settlements and Viking stuff here in Northern America. So the Vikings were coming here. Uh, Here's another good one that I didn't want to forget because you just got that movie that just came out, the Odyssey, right? The
Yeah.
Odyssey. So now we're talking about even before the Romans and Jesus, right? Allegedly. Again, I'm open to whatever. So the Greeks, right? Pre-Jesus and the Romans. And you got the story of Homer and the Odyssey. So you get the same problem with that. They can't let you know that people knew about the world, that people weren't just primitive, walking around in sandals and didn't know anything. When the people start to try to break down the Odyssey, nothing adds up again with their stories. Like, one of the things is, 10 days of traveling, they never slept, or 7 days and they didn't sleep, so they just rode the whole time. And they want you to think that's the Mediterranean. And people are proving that that can't be. These were way bigger trips. And some of the things that they're describing are clearly like Scotland, Iceland. They're talking about North America, the Caribbean islands. Uh, they're talking about again this promised land and where the fruits would grow 3 times a year. Well, that doesn't happen out there in the Mediterranean. You know where that happens? In the Virgin Islands and the Caribbeans. It's hot enough and tropical enough where uh, you could get like 3 times a year, uh, grow bananas or whatever. So they were literally talking about like the Caribbean and America and South America. The people in the past were traveling. And I've said on your show too, come on, Christians. Do you really think Jesus didn't know about America? They needed to wait 1,500 years for some guy named Christopher Columbus to show up by mistake and blah, 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 that whole story. God knows what this place is. He knows about all the land. So when Jesus said that the word's going to spread all throughout the world, the four corners, right? And you got Paul and everybody, Paul getting on ships and traveling everywhere. They weren't just around the Mediterranean and these little areas. It was the whole world. So to me, there's tons of evidence. That's again that box they put us all into, thinking that our ancestors were primitive, stupid people. But if you study architecture and you look into stuff, it's obvious that our ancestors were super smart. I think way smarter than what we are now. Uh, Probably stronger, healthier, lived longer. So
Taller.
taller, yeah. So, you know, our ancestors weren't primitive, stupid people. We're not like, oh, we're so smart now and this is the smartest and look at the technology. Well, like the Bible said, nothing new under the sun. All they're figuring out is things that were probably even more advanced in the past. Uh, so yeah, these people were traveling everywhere, all over the world. So to make it like, it's crazy to think that Egypt could be America or that Jesus could have been traveling. Like, why would Jesus not be able to travel to everywhere in the world? Um, he didn't need Christopher Columbus 1,500 years later. And the Romans, when they said they ruled the world, they meant the world, not the Mediterranean and little parts of Asia and Africa. They meant the world. And people in the past weren't primitive. So from the Odyssey to Jesus to the Vikings, these people were traveling all over. They knew about America. And to me, there's more evidence that it actually was taking place here was the original place, and they were leaving from here going to other places. And I think that's what the archaeology shows, and that's what I believe.
Yeah, I agree. And someone in the chat said Native Americans spoke Paleo Hebrew.
Yes, they did.
Yep. We're,
Yes.
we're really, yeah. So, Vinny, thanks to you, we covered He Walked the Americas on one of our Bible
Yeah.
studies.
Shout out Noel Hadley. And I'll be going on his channel soon. That's another thing. I told him I'd come on his channel. So
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
going on Noel's channel soon and yeah,
Let me know, and I can promote that.
thank you.
I'll make sure everyone watches that. So yeah, the stories that the Native Americans have about Jesus it's incredible. It's some of
Yes.
the best descriptions and that we have outside of the Bible
Yes.
because they were actually with him.
Because it was probably originally here is what the evidence is kind of lining up to. And you talk about the lost tribes of Israel. And what are we told about the Indian? That they weren't a nation. They were random tribes. They were tribes,
Yeah,
right? And you look at a lot of their early features and like what they were wearing, it's like Hebrew. They were wearing like Hebrew beads and threads and uh, a lot of Jewish stuff to the Native Americans.
and someone said, okay, so they corn. What did I see about corn? Jess Whalen 78 says, "Have you guys ever heard about where corn actually comes from? It isn't really normal. It's some
Yeah,
mutation of a type of grass."
yes, that's true.
That I never heard that. That's
And we're told the Native
unbelievable.
Americans did that, but it's older than the Native Americans we know of. Like this is literally what the Mayans and these people before were doing. So it's gone back a long time, and obviously still to this day, it's the culture of everything. Like a tortilla, right? We all know like a tortilla with Mexico, right? And like that's a corn, you know. Um, we're told that the supposedly these Europeans were coming here and then we're taking the corn back to Europe because they didn't even, they didn't know what it was. Corn has always been a big thing here, and this is where it was like cultivated. Which again, if the Masons and you got the Egyptians doing rituals with corn, another thing too, cocaine, right? Coca and cocaine. And they tell us like things in science like, oh, we found these Egyptian mummies that have traces of cocaine. Well, then they must have come from like South America because that's where it comes from, not Africa. And still to this day, that's where cocaine's coming from.
Right. I lost the chat.
Oh,
I clicked on a link. KJ, thank you for posting the link to He Walked the Americas. Oh, let me reconnect here with the chat.
yeah.
And then the other book is the one by Chief Joseph Riverwind called "That's What the Old Ones Say."
Hmm.
Another just great, trip back to the Native Americans, their history of being Christian.
Yeah.
That's why they were relocated and persecuted so badly. They didn't want that information getting out. It would have rewritten our entire history if they
Yeah.
let the Native Americans practice Christianity. It would have they're right. They couldn't have stopped Christianity from spreading or changed history if we have all these indigenous peoples talking about Jesus. Right, that would have just ruined their whole
Yeah.
plan. Would have
And also,
foiled all
like
their
we talk
plans.
about the millennial kingdom, like they can't let you know, like I said last time, the Buddhist, right? They make it like Buddhism is like this old ancient religion. Buddhism is not an ancient old religion. It's literally created like 150 years ago, the Buddhists that we see today. And it was originally a Christian sect. And I've talked about that and given some of the details and the people that were like saying in the 1800s, there's no difference between I think they were called like Mancheans, which were Buddhists basically in that day, and being a Christian. It was the same thing. I pointed out the Muslims, it was a Christian sect. They weren't different. Everything was Christian. There might have been different sects, just like we have now. You could be Baptist and Christian, Catholic, Protestant, whatever, but we're still Christian, right? And that's what it was too. Uh, and Christianity was everywhere. And all these symbols and all these buildings and everything, they're not Egyptian, they're Christian. So yeah, you hide all that stuff, right? You destroy things, you destroy the frescoes and you're blowing up buildings and you're hiding everything and you're killing off people, blowing up museums since World War One and still going, to erase history so they could promote this pathetic uh soul-crushing story of you're an evolved monkey. And then, these white Europeans were smart enough and powerful enough to come and enslave everybody and created this world we're living in now. It's just nonsense. Nonsense.
Well, look at this. Heather from Little Season Salt and Light says, "My great grandmother was full of Cherokee blood, and her last name was Gabriel,
Yeah.
like the angel."
Yeah. Because everybody had Christian names. Just like we were talking before, like even my grandfather, you're named after a saint. Because again, everything was about Jesus. During the millennial kingdom and this world after Jesus came back and everybody became Christian, it wasn't like, we're waiting, No, like everybody knew and this whole world was Christian. Every nation, everybody. They might have different takes, just like we do now, and maybe all interpret that scripture different or have a different view on this, but everybody was Christian. And you had Christian names And that was the thing too. All the Native Americans had Christian names. The Chinese, I point out, you look at their names, you don't understand it because it's, different letters and you don't speak Chinese, but they're actually all Christian names. It's John and this and that. Like
Hmm.
it's all Christian. Everything's Christian and saints, you know.
It was all about yeah, it was all about the saints. The saints were highly revered. Before I forget, I just want to.
There you go.
So
Hmm.
it's not the greatest quality, but pyramids in America.
There you go.
I mean, what is there? 50, 60
Oh,
that
there's
they,
more than that, but yeah, yeah.
right? There's a few out here at least. There's a couple up way up here. It looks like that's in Washington State.
Hmm.
Um, there's one right here where we think that's the Red Sea.
That's the Red Sea. Yeah.
Yep. Uh, but look at over here, even uh, down south and on the East Coast.
Yeah. That's where the majority are. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I can't get a better. I can't zoom in any more than this, but I'll have to get a. Oh, the red are mummies and prehistoric peoples.
Hmm.
Mummies in America.
Hmm. The oldest mummies found in the world are from America.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They even say the oldest water, which I don't understand. I don't know how you date water, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like everything actually, the oldest stuff all ends up being here in America.
There's another one. Oh, that's not a good one. Uh,
Hmm.
this one's a little more zoomed in to the northeast. You can actually see gigantic copper mines. I wonder who put this map. It says the indigenous peoples of this land constructed 100,000, hundreds of thousands of earthen pyramids, mounds, and animal-shaped effigies in each state, drained by the Mississippi River and its tributaries.
Yep. Which all, are describing the Nile,
Yeah.
Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
And I, I think I mentioned the last time, but for people who maybe didn't hear, they give us these cover stories, right? Like we're all obviously so Chicago and Illinois and stuff are literally nicknamed Lower Egypt or Little Egypt. And they're telling us like, some Jesuit priest in the 1800s just was like, yeah, this reminds me of Egypt from the Bible and decides to call it that. But that's the hijack. The thing is that was the name, but they don't want you to know that this is Egypt, right? So they got to make up this story that some Jesuit priest called that. Rome on the Potomac, right? Washington, D.C., which is clearly Roman. Where we look at these structures, they're obviously Greco-Roman buildings, right? And they're going to tell us, well, I guess the founding fathers just, I guess, really looked up to Rome and wanted to build all this stuff looking Roman. Or you could say that they're Roman structures and all the names lining up with Roman stuff, the Seven Hills and all this stuff matches up here. And Memphis, Tennessee, that's Memphis, Egypt. That's the original Memphis of Egypt, is Memphis, Tennessee. Uh, I believe Florida was like ancient Greece. There's a lot of evidence that that's possibly like where, and I think it could have went up the whole East Coast. Like think of Rhode Island and think about how it's spelt, just like roads of the Greeks, road with an H, Rhode. That's why they calling it Rhode Island, because it's probably was roads from the Greek cities.
I'm looking for what's that state where there's like a real famous
What? Mount
pyramid?
Rushmore? Oh,
No.
Cusco? I mean, there's a lot in South America.
Th-
People got to look at Mexico and South America too. It's not just North America. I mean, there's a
yeah,
ton of stuff in South America. And
I'm
again, I think the biggest pyramid in the world is in Mexico.
I mean, just look at any mountain. I remember even in New Hampshire, about an hour and a half from where I live, the what's it called? Franconia Notch. Um, the mountains look like pyramids. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
they're covered by trees, but they're like perfectly shaped pyramid.
Yes.
And not all mountains are like that, right? Not all mountains have that
No.
perfect
And it's funny that the
pointed.
Chinese, early history, the Chinese were said that, like, in the world we're living right now, probably after this reset happened or whatever, uh, the Chinese were being told by their government to build on top of these pyramids. So they started putting dirt and burying this stuff on purpose. So I'm sure it wasn't just China, but that's like an actual recorded story and is, admitted that they were being told to cover up these pyramids.
Right. And to think about it, like what a testimony to the power of God that here we are. We've been through the ringer with
Yes,
indoctrination, brainwashing, programming, poisoned, and
yes. And we're
we
still finding stuff
we're
out.
figuring out that that we've been lied to. Like I
Yeah,
don't think we could have done this without.
God.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Hold on. I want to show you guys this picture. This is let me just share this real quick. I went hiking through here. It's absolutely beautiful. This is Franconia Notch in New Hampshire. Like,
Beautiful.
look at that. That's kind of looks like Split Mountain, but
Hmm.
I do think that's in Utah as well. But the mountain ranges up in. Let me see if I can find the pyramid shaped. Yeah, let me see. There's definitely one mountain that just I know it. I'm like I saw it. I'm like that looks like a pyramid. Um, yeah, but anyway, Franconia. And by the way, Franconia Notch is there's a incredible park there. You go hiking through in between what looks like a split mountain, right? They call it that's the notch, right?
Hmm.
And they have all these like trails, these like platforms you can. Anyway, this isn't a tourism channel. Um, so anyway, yeah. So I think we're all kind of on board. I mean, there's very little people that are arguing that stuff happened in the Middle East at this
Well,
point. Serious, truth-minded, truth-seeking people are now like, yeah, that there's more evidence that it
things
happened
don't add
here.
up. I made a video I told people last time, for those who don't know, uh, a video called like Jesus's Voyage from America to Spain or something like that, I called it. But in it, I show an archaeologist. I love archaeology. Uh, so there's one guy who's out there at the Sea of Galilee, for the people who believe that it's out there, right? So the place where they're going to tell you this is the Sea of Galilee. Jesus got on a boat here, and that's that whole story of him and the disciples going uh to this place, and like this horrible storm comes and he calms it, and then they go there and there's like this demon possessed guy like naked running all crazy. They describe it as a necropolis city, and Jesus cast the demons into these pigs, right? And these pigs like go and like jump off this cliff.
Mm.
So here it is, these archaeologists are going there and they're looking for the archaeology. And guess what? Nothing adds up. Just like I keep trying to say, just like with Africa and Egypt stuff, like nothing adds up. So you could watch my video and get better than just me trying to hurry up and say some stuff and not to kill too much time. Watch the video. Um, and you'll see all the evidence. Like they found zero pig bones, found other bones of animals and stuff, zero pig bones, no necropolis, no cliff that would go jump off. But when you're put into a box, right, and you're being told, well, this is the Sea of Galilee. Well, then the person who wants to tie this in and figure out, okay, so that means Jesus got on a boat here and went over there. This has to be the spot. But the archaeology and the evidence doesn't prove that. Plus, the Sea of Galilee isn't some giant sea that there'd be like this horrible storm where they're all like freaking out and thinking they're gonna die. Um, it doesn't have that stuff. It doesn't, they've never even had like big boats in there. It's a small sea. So there's no evidence of the boats that he would have been on. There's no proof of the necropolis city, the city of the dead, and there's nothing there. But because you're in a box, right? And you are a Christian and you want to believe it, and you believe you're being told like this is it. So you got to say, well, you know, it's got to be somewhere right over here. So we're going to say that this is, you know, the Sea of Galilee. This is where he landed, even though there's no proof because they put you in a box. Now, if you're
Right.
open-minded, like like this archaeologist, he goes and finds the place that actually makes sense. And this necropolis, they find it in Spain. And it's like this city of the dead. And there's like all the, like there's literally a necropolis. To this day, pig is a big thing over there.
Mm.
Like everything lines up. They got the cliffs and everything over the necropolis all lines up with this place in Spain. Uh, the name Gat, they were like Gadarenes. Like that name is still a big thing in Spain. So there was like tons of evidence showing that where he went was this place in Spain. Um, Now, to me, again, this guy will say like, well, he went through the Mediterranean because again, they're putting in that box that, you know, they couldn't have been from America, right? It had to be from that place over there. To me, again, that doesn't make sense. A big sea voyage where they're afraid and there's crazy storm, that would be the Atlantic Ocean. Uh, Going back to the word ocean comes from a Greek thing, and in Homer, going back to the Odyssey, he talks about not crossing a sea or the Mediterranean. He talks about crossing oceans, right? So for all these years that he's going around in that boat, they're talking about the ocean, not the Mediterranean Sea. They literally use the word ocean. So that would be the Atlantic, right? So yeah, to me, I believe that Jesus left from possibly Rhode Island because there's a lot of symbology of Galilee being there. So maybe from Rhode Island went to Spain and that's where the actual voyage, that's what I say in the video. But yeah, people could check that out. That you're just not going to find the evidence and you got to be honest with yourself. Don't keep yourself in a box. They programmed us to be in boxes. And if you keep yourself in a box, you're not going to see past it. You know, if you want to believe that your ancestor was an idiot and didn't know about traveling, you know, that they could have traveled back and forth from Europe to America, then you know, you're in a box and you're not going to be able to, you know, you're just going to, I guess, reject all this information. But yeah, I think there's tons of evidence to show that that stuff does not add up. Egypt does not add up in Africa. Israel does not add up to where they say it is right now. And there's more evidence of it being here. So again, I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying I see more evidence for this. And until someone could show me something different, I'm sticking with this. I
Right.
believe this.
And they had different areas they wanted to create the Jewish state. It like wasn't even Israel wasn't even the first choice. It was
Yes.
Africa. It was what wasn't it
Yes.
even in America too? Wasn't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. But America rejected it.
Yeah, they knew it was going to be a. uh,
Yeah.
so check this out. I just was curious while you were talking about all that, and um, I just typed in donkeys originated in America. Who brought donkeys to America? Because it says Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, right?
Mhm.
When I read this, I laughed. The first asses came to the Americas aboard ships of the second voyage of Christopher Columbus. So, do we believe that Christopher Columbus brought donkeys to America?
No, I don't. No, I don't
See,
buy
this
any of
is,
their
yeah,
stories.
this is, and where did this come from? I wonder where it's Wikipedia, text under, yeah. So let's see all this stuff like donkeys. Colonists brought the donkeys. They all brought the donkeys. Where did
Yeah,
donkeys come
cool
from?
story.
So yeah, so they're going. They're. It's amazing. It's. I am just blown away at how hard, and it's like it's supernatural how much these lies and the cover-ups, right? It's a
Yeah, you know,
everything's a lie. Literally every
yes.
part. They have teams working day and night to like come up with these fake maps and these fake stories and these fake names of these explorers, and they came up with the whole globe heliocentric
The
model
devil had
makes.
to do this to get people to the point where we're at now, where people will think that they're an evolved monkey on a flying water ball, and to fall away from not interested in the Bible. Jesus isn't real. Jesus might as well be the Easter Bunny to these people, and get it to the point we're at now, right? With gay marriage legal, and I'm not talking down about anyone. We're all sinners. I don't feel better than anyone else. I know I'm not better than anyone else, but it never could have been. You couldn't have transgenderism and all this stuff, even just maybe like 50 years ago. So yeah, it took a lot, Tony, and the devil is working hard, and they have to do, a number on everything. They had to create fake NASA and stuff to get people to say, well, we must be on a ball. They're on the moon showing us video that they're on the moon. So, we're on a ball. Like it's a number on every level. History, science, everything. So destroying of the past and creating these fake stories. And they had to wait a little, they had to wait. Because like I said, they couldn't pass transgenderism to our grandparents, right? They weren't promoting evolution and you're a monkey on a ball in the 1800s. They weren't doing that. They had to wait till they had enough lies and enough people deceived and clearly we're at that point to where now they could just feed us anything. That there is no male or female. There's, you know, great alien saviors coming to save us soon. Uh, yeah.
But my point is, I guess, like when you look back at all the lies, all the deception, all the fake, you know, evidence that they basically created, doesn't it seem like it's an almost an impossible task for regular human beings to pull off?
Yeah, I agree.
So
I don't, it ain't the Rothschilds of them being these super intelligent people. It's demons
and
telling them.
fallen
And
angels
that,
and
bro,
right.
yeah, there was a secret society member, I'll never forget, who talked about like Darwin and things like that. That this was like demons that were giving out this information, and that like whoever was like delivering it was, held in high regard to the demons. So it's like, yeah, like the demons are putting the thoughts in their heads. Just like us Christians, we'll get these great thoughts put in our head from God, and we'll have like these visions and have intuition and things like that. Or we do things where it's like, well, I don't know how that happened, but God, it was God guiding us, right? Well, they have the opposite, right? They have demons putting these thoughts in their heads, and they're just like these vessels for the demons. But yeah, it's supernatural because, yeah, I can't see this being like some smart guy or, you know, clever genius coming up with this stuff. It's like you said, man. It's beyond that. It's this these spirits that are putting out this information through their puppets who have the power and are spending all their energy to create this illusion.
Right, and it's lasted for about 2,000 years, or right? Well,
Well, let's see what they're saying.
since
I
Christ
think it
left.
just it might not be that long ago that the short season began.
Yeah, right. If they added 700 years, that makes we're around like 1,300, right? If they added 700 years,
Like I've said in the past, it depends on how you look at that. To me, I basically see it about 1,000 years added overall, which means like I feel like we're just right outside the 1,000 year reign, whether 1776 or the 1800s. It sort of seems like in that time frame,
Hmm.
possibly 1776 was like this changing and everything turning into what we are now.
Yeah. So, any questions for Vinny on, you guys want to post a question for Vinny on the what we just talked about? We just talked about so much stuff, but it's amazing the lies. Like they thought of everything. They left no, right? Even like the donkey thing. Like they made up. They have a story
They
for how
have
where
to.
donkeys came from.
They have to,
It's like they went through the Bible. They had a team of demons or whatever, just going through the Bible and going, okay, for this, what? How are we going to explain
How we
this?
explain this?
Where are we going to say this happened? Where it's just I don't know. I can't even wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Well, again, they're very highly motivated people. These people aren't lazy. You know, they're not sitting around playing video games or watching sports and sitting around in their underwear on the couch. Like these people have all the money. They're highly motivated, and the devil's not letting up. He's going. He knows he has a short season, so they have to go fast and hard. And they are. And they know because again, genuine people are going to say something like, "Well, why are there? What? There's no pig bones over here. Like, why? Where's the necropolis? Where's it?" So they already. Well, we got to have that answer.
Yeah.
The Artemis, right? Well, how do you explain that it's going 16,000 miles an hour and then it comes to a land and within a few seconds and then AI will tell you some nonsense, right? Like they're gonna have some nonsense all the time. Uh, So yeah, I mean, the devil's on his game. He's not slacking, and they know like already what people are gonna think, so they got to have that answer for it, right? You know, gravity explains how this works.
Yeah,
Like
right.
whatever
Gravity,
it is, they
which
gotta.
can't be, you can't
Well,
see
how are we
it. You
sticking
can,
to a ball that's spinning? And well, gravity. This really smart guy Einstein, he came up with this, and everybody just says okay. But once you start breaking it down for us who are awake, you just start laughing and you realize it's just all lies and
okay,
theories, right? They call us conspiracy theorists while they believe in the theory of Big Bang, the theory of evolution, theory. They all believe. We're doing actual research and proving things with experiments, and we're the theorists, right?
right.
That's how confused and how opposite everything is, man.
Kay says pigs were brought here by Spanish explorers. Total lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
There were camels here. There was all
uh,
types of things they proved that were here.
and I've heard
Uh,
that pigs aren't even real. Like they're not natural. They were like hybrid creations of human and I forget some other
hmm.
animal.
I
Um,
mean, maybe you're right. I don't know enough, but again, I don't think anything's crazy that you or anybody's going to tell me. I'm never going to say you're crazy or I don't believe you. If I don't, maybe, maybe the fallen angels and them did create it. It wasn't an original thing,
okay,
right?
Vinny, I got a question. Have jokes Joker? Oh, I get it. Joker XTX says, "Have you looked into the Alamo?"
Yeah, yeah, total nonsense story. I've seen experiments where they fired a cannon at the thing, and it obliterated the stuff, and the whole story again, it doesn't add up. None of these stories add up. The OK Corral with Wyatt Earp and all these guys. When you start looking into this stuff, it's just nothing but problems. Salem, Massachusetts, with the witch trials, I ended up finding out that's not even the real place. It's actually like 45 minutes north of there, and it wasn't like as big as what they're saying. But yeah, the Alamo. I seen that it doesn't add up. And then I've also heard the stories about like Davy Crockett being like a Mason and that he wasn't killed and that the Mexican general was a Mason and when they were going around killing everyone, Davy Crockett puts up a Masonic hand sign so they spare his life and he went on to live, I think, in Florida. I've heard some stuff about that, which maybe that's true. Maybe the Masons are telling the truth. I don't know. But yeah, man, a good question. And I'm sure you probably are thinking the same as me or heard the same as me. That
Yeah.
because it was like
The-
a church or something. They were saying like they were hiding out in this thing, and I saw like an experiment where they were firing a cannon at it, and it would have destroyed the place.
uh,
So it
yeah.
couldn't be a true story.
I even heard that cannons were a lie. Like that whole where they put this big like I don't know what you call it, a big
A
what were
cannonball.
they? Iron, yeah, a cannonball and light a match and this that's how they did war. I don't know. I don't remember what I heard, but I watched a documentary about it and it was kind of eye opening.
Mm.
Um, if Jesus reigned, Enjoy Movies says if Jesus reigned for 1,000 years, it would make sense. They would add 1,000 years, eye for an
Yes,
eye, tooth for a tooth, 1,000 years
yes.
for 1,000. Yeah, Enjoy Movies. Yeah, it
And that's, I say,
sounds
they
right.
talk about the dark ages where 1,000 years, right? Again,
Exactly a
think about
thousand
it.
years.
Opposite these inverted people. This ain't a Masonic sign, Tyler. I'm saying so inverted. 1,000 years of darkness, 1,000 years of light. And the other thing that makes me think the 1,000 years is the flamenco books with the whole I and the J, where you see things that had an I or a J. So it would be like I 532. And again, these demons got to explain this away, right? Like, why is there this Spanish coin off the coast of Florida that says I 53? And they're like, well, that was the 1500s, right? It couldn't be, they can't tell you it was five something, right? Because five something, nobody knew about America. And then we needed 1,000 years of darkness until the Age of Enlightenment, where now they could say, well, it could be from the 1500s, right? So they, they, uh, they, the I was for like Isa or Isus. It was in certain languages like Russian and others for Jesus, and J obviously for English. So there would be I's and J's on these coins, and I have a video on that if nobody's ever seen them, where I think I titled it like Jesus was 1,000 years ago, and I'm showing all the different coins in it. So they'll tell you that this was 1600s, 1500s, but really what it's telling you is the year of Jesus, 536. And then for people who've never heard me say this, I might have said this on your show last time, and I know I said it with Paul. I made Paul actually bring up the image I sent him. A couple of years ago, my uncle was, talking about his grandfather, my great grandfather, who came over from Italy, right? And they had the paperwork. And it was like 1921. And right away when he's talking about it, and he's all like, oh, it talks about, he was doing, this type of work. And right away, my first thought is, I want to see the date, right? So I'm like, let me see this. And I'm like, not even listening to my uncle. Right away, I zoom right to the bottom. And I swear to God, and I could show it to people who don't believe me. I showed it on Paul's channel. I could send it to you, Tony. It's the actual document printed by the government. And it shows like, everything's typed in and then there'll be like a blank line to where they, typewrite it probably in. And it has I underscore and they type in 921. And I love that it's 921 because you see the number one and what a one looks like. And then
Yeah.
you clearly see the I, right? So it's saying I and then three numbers typed in. So it wasn't 1921, it was 921. You see what I'm saying? And this was just what, 105 years ago. And and in America, the paperwork was still showing an I. That's how recent it was. Still the millennial kingdom was evident, and they were letting you know like the year is 921. So Yeah, man. To me, that was like I got physical evidence to show that even in 1921, it was showing an eye. So it wasn't 1921. So this isn't 2026. To me, this is 1026.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a
Mm.
big thing to me is the I's and the J's and the timeline deception. Yep. If people haven't
Uh,
gotten it yet, email me. I'll give you the books. One of the best books by Fomenko is the maps and the coins, and you'll see how the whole I and the J thing that I'm talking about.
Heather from Little Season Salt and Light says, "Where do you think the real Isle of Patmos could be?" Someone said Trey said Alcatraz.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could. It could be in the Caribbean. Um, yeah, I think it could be off the West Coast, like by Cali, like she's saying. Um, and I'm also open to it being. It seems like a lot with the Caribbean,
Hmm.
especially like a lot of these older stories of these alleged explorers, including Columbus himself, if he's even real and that story's real, was talking about looking for the promised land and him ending up going into the Caribbean islands, right? And then they're named after what? Saint Thomas, Saint Croix, Virgin Mary, the Virgin Islands,
Yeah,
you know,
they're all saints.
All Saints, uh, beautiful. Like, I mean, I haven't been to a lot of places in my life, but I always tell people the most beautiful place I ever saw in my life was the Virgin Islands. Uh, I went to two of the islands there when I was younger, and if there's a paradise, like that place is pretty close to it, man. Like it was, the water was ridiculous. Like you could be like a half a mile out in the ocean, and it's so clear, and you could just see the bottom
Hmm.
and the colorful fish and mongoose, donkeys. You talking about? I remember seeing donkeys walking in the middle of the woods. Uh, you know, bananas and mangoes just growing everywhere, coconuts, and it was the most beautiful place I ever saw in my life was the Virgin Islands. So, maybe to these people that it was like, paradise almost,
Mm.
or the fountain of youth and this stuff they talk about with Florida and the those islands, the Caribbean islands.
Yeah, I've been to the
So
Bahamas, and that was,
beautiful, right?
well, yeah, it was the water. You could see right through the water. It was so blue, and
Yeah, it's beautiful.
this is before chemtrails were really, happening
Yeah.
as bad. Um, Virginia 10614 says, "Where does Vinny think Bethlehem and Jerusalem are?"
Yeah, I think that it was probably like around Utah. Or
Mhm.
you throw a J in front of that, you got Utah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of proof to being like around the Grand Canyon, Utah area, I believe. Um, yeah, that again, I don't know, but if you're asking me my best guess, I'm thinking that it mostly sign looks like that. Um, and I think this we should all look into the whole Mormon thing a lot more too. How Joseph Smith going into Utah, and there's a lot of Egyptian and relics involved. Like, was he there again, seeing this old Israel type of stuff right there in Utah? So yeah, I still want to look more into it. Um, Maybe next weekend when I get Kurimeyu on, I could ask him some of these questions and see what him and that audience think.
Yeah. Um, and check out my interview with Rachel K. Baldwin. Let me just pull this up real quick, and I'll show you, Vinny, what she found when she went to this place with her husband when she went to Utah.
That's
I like
awesome.
all the same stuff that you were already saying. Um, the place of the crucifixion, Golgotha, uh, she found in here from Joshua 4:19, that day the entire nation crossed the Jordan River and camped in Gilgal at the eastern edge of the city of Jericho, and there the 12 stones from the Jordan were piled up as a monument. And she found these place with
Mhm.
these 12 stones, and then she found this. You can see over here on the right. She found
Mhm.
this like petrified wood post sticking out of the ground, and she like said she like was just so overcome with emotion. Um, the evidence still stands in the form of a petrified stump of the tree on which the Messiah was crucified. Petrified how? By the mud flood.
Yeah,
So she has an amazing book.
that's
So I want to
awesome.
give a shout out. Yeah. Um, she did a whole chapter on Utah and the Bible happening pretty much all over here. Um,
Yeah.
is Vinny familiar? Kay says, is Vinny familiar with Jesus? It's what the Native Americans called
Yeah.
Jesus.
We,
Jesus is what
yeah.
they. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And and then also like the other thing I hear a lot about and it makes a lot of sense is you know how they always made like the Native Americans would be going, ah hi yeah. Like they're talking about Yah, like Yahweh, like God. They were chanting to God. Um, so Hawa and things like that. Um, I know Kurimeu and them are big into that too. Like they say Hawa is basically they were talking about God, you know, the Israeli God. Hawa is how they used to call him, and that's why they'd be chanting Ahaya, yeah, Hawa, and they'd say Hawa and Ahaya and things like that was for God.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. There's not enough time in the day for people like me and Vinny to really explore all these rabbit trails. So it's really, I love that we have the people in the chat to kind of fill in some of the blanks. And there's too
Yeah,
much to research. There's just right.
and that's why I try my best to find people that I feel like do a great job and are digging deeper and have more time. And that's why for this topic, I want to do an awesome show next weekend with Corey Mayu. Um, and yeah, hopefully some of the people here that got great questions that I haven't answered or I don't know as much as you'd like, we could ask Corey Mayu, who probably will have answers
Oh
for a
yeah.
lot of these things that I might not have.
L- Lorraine Ray says the six fingers. Is it true that the Native Americans, the reason they would hold up their hand and say ho, or was they ho? What are
How?
they? How? Is because the Nephilim had six fingers and they were making sure that the person approaching didn't have six fingers. Is that true?
I've heard that story again. I mean, I'm open to it. I can't prove it right or wrong at this time, but yeah, I've heard that also, and uh, I mean, it makes sense. It sounds like a pretty cool story, and I could believe it. You know,
Yeah, and we think Vinny.
there's drawings of people with six fingers and stuff like so. Again, if the Bible's talking about it, and all these ancient cultures are talking about it, I, I think it's a good possibility. It's real. It's just like the flood, man. Like the flood isn't just a biblical story. It's literally every culture all over the world saying the same story.
Mm-hmm.
But they want, again, they want to put you in a box and tell you these people didn't know about each other and they're all just, I guess, having mass hallucinations of the same story and they all just made up the same fictional story or whatever. But, you know, again, using critical thinking and reasoning, you got to say, well, they're all telling the same story, you know, and it obviously had to happen. And then you get into the archaeology and other stuff that actually proves this stuff has happened
Right.
because things are buried, buried under the mud flood.
Right. I agree. Um, Okay, any last questions for Vinny? We've been going about 2 hours and 38 minutes. I'm sure
It
Vinny
always goes
wants.
so fast with you.
I know it felt like 10 minutes. Really did.
Yeah.
I just know when it's time to go when my laptop is like emitting so much radiation, it's literally burning my elbow.
Wow.
Like it because I have my elbow on my desk, leaning on my desk in the front of my laptop. Not even where like the fan is
Like
and
the
everything.
battery and stuff.
And my
Yeah.
elbow, it feels like it's like a third degree burns on it.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, okay, I was gonna say the Mormons. We're finding out that we think the Mormons, because they believe, right, what kind of like that, Jesus was in America and all that. But we think that's like their cover story because people dismiss the Mormons as crazy. So, what
Hmm.
better way to muddy the waters than to say, well, the Mormons believe Jesus was in America? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Is
Great point.
mixing
Yeah.
lies with the truth.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
um, because then what's the first thing people say? Oh, well, that's what the Mormons believe, and they're crazy. Like,
Yeah.
uh, Mitt Romney is a Mormon. I don't believe anything. So, it,
Exactly.
Um, someone asked, Amster 267, will we plan to do another praise worship video next month? Yes, one a month is what I would like to do. I'll let you guys know when that's happening. Um, yes, so we did a Vinny, we did a last week, last Sunday, I forget when it was. We did a praise worship video. We just worship praise songs, sang praise songs to God, and it was incredible.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, some very talented people. Pastor Joseph, guy's the best voice. He like sends chills down your spine. He's such a good singer. And Laura and Jess and KJ, who's our moderator, he's incredible musician. And Mary Beth, of course, who wrote the book Jesus is King, even in a little season. She's a not only a phenomenal singer, but she's a phenomenal songwriter. She writes her own worship
Nice.
music to Jesus. Yeah, it's incredible.
That's awesome.
Um, all right, well, I think we will wind down. Vinny, any last thoughts or words of wisdom for the viewers?
Uh, yeah. Well, first off, thank you again, Tony. I love you and your audience. Um, you're doing great work. Keep it going. And, hopefully I'll be able to come back soon. And, like I said, people, I think next weekend I'll start doing some live streams on my channel again. But yeah, besides all that, I guess, the positive, good stuff. So I know we're going in, this is dark times and there's a lot of horrible things going on, but like God says, we're not to have fear. Um, and we shouldn't be sad or have fear. And knowing that there's more than just this life, that should be, that should take away the fear of this life ending. You know what I mean? Like, just know that there's more than this. So, um, also, I guess Romans 12:2, a renewing of the mind. We're not to be transformed by this world, but, we want to uh, transform with the renewing of our mind to understand God and what He wants. So again, I think we're supposed to challenge ourselves, challenge your beliefs. I don't think it's a bad thing to question things that you believe. I think God wants us to renew our mind, like Romans 12:2 is talking about. So yeah, just stay full of love and have no fear. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen, whether it's tomorrow or years down the line. We're to endure, uh, help each other out, you know, uh, help your neighbor out, help people, even people that, might not be Christian or you feel they deserve it, but they might just need you to show them some love for them to come around and feel that love. I think it's dark times, right? So a lot of people are depressed. A lot of people feel alone. So try to share that love just like Jesus does for us. We gotta share that with each other. So have love and compassion for each other. And God bless everyone. And I love you all.
Thank you, Vinny. We love you too, man. You get you should see the comments. You got some fans in here. Fans of your mind and your hair. Apparently, your hair. The girls are like, "How come I don't have hair that good?" Um, so, Vinny, how
The way
what
God made me, I don't know, just natural. I
people
don't I
want?
don't like even comb. I comb it with my fingers. I go like that, and that's about it. You know.
People want to know the email. They can ask you for the book, the books, the flamenco books. What's your email? I'll put it in the chat.
Do the one that's on my channel, the VINNY truth@gmail.com.
Okay, put
Yeah.
it vinnydbatruth@gmail.com. I'll put that. That'll be in the description box too. Um, for anyone who doesn't see that. Now, do you know about the chat? Someone said that my comment, the chat, the live comments aren't populating in the video after. Is that, do these all these comments go away?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if you have to do something to.
Yeah.
I don't. For anybody like in the audience, I don't see any of the live chat. I just see Tony's face on my big screen and then a little picture of me up top. That's all I see.
That's all you
So,
see?
yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll have to figure out. I'll have to figure out why. Oh, because I have a second monitor.
Okay,
So I have the YouTube video live on my laptop, and then my Zoom, like me and you, are on my monitor, which is what I'm looking at now.
okay.
That's why you always see me looking back and forth. I have two
Yeah,
monitors. So okay, I'm
okay.
sorry, man. I didn't know that. I would have tried to correct that. I don't know if I honestly know how to correct that though.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not
It's
good at that stuff. That's why I need my friend Mike Stiggy over there, the one I always do the shows with. He
yeah.
handles all that for me, and I could just focus on, you know, talking, and I'm not good with that stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a lot of tech stuff you have to go through. Um, all right, so I'll have Vinny's email, his YouTube channel, in the description of this video. Also, geoengineeringwatch.org. Guys, if you have extra money to donate, that's a cause. I mean, man, I'm surprised they're like letting him even
Yeah,
continue that. And like when there's a snowstorm, really bad snowstorm coming, go on geoengineering.watch.org, and Dane Wigington will tell you who made it, where it's coming from, and how bad it's going to be. Like that's the level of research this guy does.
yeah.
Um, and then I got a link to the video me and you did, Vinny, on the rectangular flat Earth model.
Nice.
So, uh, Vinny, again, thank you for coming on. You're welcome back here anytime. Any Tuesday night you're free, join us for our Bible study.
I'll try. Like I said, Monday to Friday with work with me, it's
It,
usually hard for me.
yeah.
That's why I'm like basically can only do Saturdays and Sundays, but
Hmm.
I will keep that in mind. Maybe one day I get out of work early and I'm feeling good and I'll be able to set up and jump on or
Yep.
just do it right from my phone just so I could be a part of it. I love you and your audience, so I definitely want to. It's just about, finding the time and for the people again who didn't get who want to know more about the Egypt stuff and check out next weekend. I'm going to do a show with Corey Mayu. I'm going to do it live, and I will be able to answer more questions. And we're going to go even more detail with someone even better in this subject than me. So,
Yep. So
yeah.
send me a link as soon as you get it for that, and I'll post it on my channel.
Okay.
All right.
It's going to be my channel. So
Oh, it's
just,
your channel. Okay.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
you say weekend, you mean Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah. I'm trying for Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you know, let us know.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, Vinny, thank you. God bless you. Love you, man.
Love you.
For the people in the chat, love you all. You guys were incredible. Thanks for sticking around. God bless you all and enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon.